What have y'all been turning this week? I've seen some beautiful ornaments coming up. Hope everybody's getting a few little Christmas ornaments and trinkets done for the holidays. It's that time of the year to get them out, folks.
Yeah,
Really is.
tomorrow's the date. Tomorrow's the day to drop a few of them off if you're visiting somewhere, or even
Yeah.
just to hand one off to somebody that's coming over for dinner.
Get out a bottle stopper. Leave it on that bottle of wine. Yes, you can put a stopper in a bottle of wine. You don't have to drink it all. That's a Louisiana rule. You don't have to everywhere. You can go ahead and stopper up that coffee, that wine. But yes, I saw, and kudos to Matt. I saw somebody from Magnolia Woodturners today posted a beautiful ornament with a twisted band finial. I
Yep.
wonder where he saw that. And
Yeah. Yeah. Matt has
it was,
inspired all the current turnings of spirals for the last almost 2 months now.
yeah. And everybody's playing with it, which is great. He got their brains working. He got them thinking, you know what, I can do that. But you know what I can do? And this guy got my attention drawn to it. And I said, Matt, when I saw it, um, pardon me, is it was colored very nicely. A lot of that flaky paint and stuff on it. It really looked good. And then I saw a bowl cover. It was nicely done. It was the turn bowl was a nice piece. And then it had a nice cover on it, but it had a forest, and I could not capture that because it was on my iPad. Couldn't capture the image. Um, it had a forest of those twisted ribbons on it for finials or decorations on the top of it, plus other finials. It was a really unique, verging on weird looking piece, but a lot of work, and some beautiful work. It was all sycamore. It was sycamore. The sycamore was really singing out to you because it had some great accent. Sycamore has great color, some great grain accent to it sometimes. And if you treat it right, which means cut it right, sand it right, um, and it had a tongue all finish. Now that's when you go one more step. When when you've got it well enough to where you can do a tongue all finish on it. Because those of you who know it knows it does two things: provides a good finish or shows every flaw in the entire world. That's what tongue all
Oh
does.
yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So don't go to tongue all if you want that 5 minute finish, because that's 5 minutes of your life you'll never get back. But if you get it, if you can get the wood to dance along with you, and I watched a guy on, I caught it on Facebook, but it was a YouTube presentation. So somebody had recycled the Facebook thing onto YouTube, which is why I saw one of my YouTubes the other day on Facebook. Um, and the guy made all of his final cuts with an Ellsworth type gouge, probably 3/8 or half inch. Very nice, smooth grind on the back of it. It didn't have any bumps or hooks or anything to it, but he did them all by shear scraping. So he shear scraped the last cuts, and then he did some light sanding. And when he hit it with that oil, it pops. It was beautiful. It was beautiful because he sliced it the whole way. He didn't compress the grain. He didn't tear the grain. He didn't rub it in. Didn't burnish it. He just let all the grain come right out. He sliced it off like a clean haircut, and then he just decorated it with a little real cream, and out it came. And that one, I watched it. I said, when I first learned how to shear scrape, I learned from Larry Zara out of Spring, Texas. And when he did it, and he was doing it at a club demo, he scraped across the piece, and he was going to move on. And I said, wait. And I had a little spray bottle of Def lacquer sealer, and I sprayed it on there, and I said, that is a finish. He says, oh, no. And I said, no, we could stop now. That is the finish. It was a piece of curly maple. And with his shear scraping, no sanding, that piece danced out. I mean, that's what convinced me. That made some sense. What he just did was, just like Mark Soleil used to say, it's slicing wood. When you slice it off, you cut them. Y'all know, you guys know this, you gals know this. You slice it off to a clean slice. And then you don't have to wait for it to jump back up. You remember, go way back in time, when you'd have to sand, seal, let it rise, sand, seal, let it rise again, and then start it when you finish it, because you had to wait for everything you compressed or burnished off. And we worked sandpaper until it was paper when the sand was completely gone, because that's just how the world was, or that's how we thought it was. Whereas on the cabinet shop I worked in 1962, the best guy in the shop, his final pass was the bench scraper. Just take that bench scraper, make final passes. And I made a mistake of picking it up and holding it one day and then putting it back down. I put it back down wrong side up. And the guy with me said, "You like that arm?" I said, "Yeah, why?" And he says, "If you touch that scraper again, you lose it." I honestly believed him at that time, because the look I got from the guy that owned the scraper would just said that you'll die if you touch that thing again. Because that's just how Wimpy worked.
Got a quick question.
Yes, hey, Pat. Who's that?
This is Dan.
Dan.
Yeah. I know if you put, this is a finishing question.
Yeah, planning on being there.
If you take
Lacquer.
lacquer,
Right, let me know what you see tomorrow.
Somebody's voice is up. Turn your voice down. I'm sorry, go ahead,
my
Dan.
voice down?
I got you, Dan.
Okay. If you put lacquer over enamel, it won't work. It'll bubble. But you can put enamel over lacquer and it's fine. What about water-based colors? Can you put lacquer over a water-based color? Does anybody know?
I don't do it without sealing a water-based color.
I don't use lacquer or water-based colors.
If I use the water-based color, like a water-based stain or a flash or whatever, to add something unusual to a finish, I'll do it, but I'm going to seal it before putting anything else over it, because if you put lacquer over that water base and it's slightly trapping moisture, it's going to be white. It might be very, very vague, but it's going to be there, and it can never go away. It can't come through. But the problem won't be then. It will be when the temperature changes or the humidity changes in the area, like from this room to that room. There will be an atmospheric change, and that's when the density, the moisture will change on either side of that layer, and it will come to it like condensation on a glass. Same thing. Condensation is going to be there because the moisture's there. And that was just my experience and I learned that from a guy that was a really, really good painter, who was a firm believer in sealer and blended his own version of a sealer. And he had different degrees of it, different blends of it, in order to get achieve different things. But his name was Bert, and I loved working around him because he was a painting artist. He was a house painter, but he worked for a company that painted churches. And you work for somebody that paints churches, you normally don't find a guy that uses a roller. And they were magnificent at no brush strokes, no lines, no flaws, no overlaps or anything. I mean, they really did good work. That was one company in town that was just known for that. And when we did work in French Quarter. When he did the inside of the place, you'd walk in and say, "Wow, did Bert paint this one?" Because it was flawless. because he was a master's. He'd spend 45 minutes to an hour cleaning his brushes and getting his stuff cleaned out when he's been to work today. It wasn't rinse it out and go home. That was the tool, and he treated it like a tool. We think where a paintbrush goes bad when it wears out, he would wear them out. I mean, but he would seal everything, and I liked working with him. He taught me a lot about finishes on residential materials and stuff. And in fact, we bought this house that had wood floor. I sanded the bedroom in here with an orbital sander, 6-inch orbital sander, and sanded a whole room out. It's a 17 by 17 room, and sanded it all out and sealed it and put Valspar on it, just in that one room. Decided my knees were worth more than that after that, but it came out like glass. It was beautiful. And then just what Bert told me, how you sand it and you seal it, you let it rise, and then you sand it again, etc. And whatever you do, never burnish work. That was one of the, that's when I had to take that to a lathe when I got started turning seriously, is burnishing work. And I see people do it on demonstrations today. You'll see people, I see pen demonstrations. There used to be really common from Penn State and a couple of other places. And a guy have a roll of, a pack of rolls of paper, and that'd be 3, 4, 5 strips of paper. They'd pull a little 1-inch strip off and sand it, and go to the next one, go to the next one. And I'm thinking most of the time people doing that were actually just burnishing it down to a smooth finish. They're not sanding it. The friction from that strap being used that way is just compressing the fibers, polishing them off, and you're touching it and saying, wow, that's smooth. That's smooth. That's smooth. And they don't realize that wood moves. It's going to keep moving. God gave it that gift. And you have to get the movement to stop to a point where it's dressed. Not sanded, dressed. And that last dressing has got to be light. And if you polish it, your finish is not going to go in. So you play with that way. If you wonder why you get a lot rotten finish on some hardwoods or some exotic woods, is just one time when you're working with it, burnish it. Just turn the paper around backwards and just rub it on there. That's possibly smooth and slick as can be. Then put your finish there and see what happens. Nothing's going to happen. It's got to go.
Can I add to that?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, whenever you're going to change like lacquer to acrylic or acrylic to an oil base, and especially an oil base, some of the older homes had oil-based paints and they want to put acrylic on them. You need to lightly sand them, but get all the dust off, and you have to put a coat of shellac on it. Shellac will be the medium coat to seal it, so another coat of a different medium can go on it.
That's the binder.
That's right. The shellac is the binder. If you don't put shellac on there, you're not going to have a binder.
Like
That's like if
mustard
you
on
look-
barbecue.
Boy, that's a good analogy. That's it.
Yeah, just like mustard on barbecue.
Yeah.
I mean, you go if you want to experiment with something, folks, just go paint something with latex paint today. Just one coat of latex paint, and tomorrow brush some oil-based paint over the top of it. Watch it oil skin.
Yep.
Watch what happens. It will oil skin. Now it will cure out, but you know that oil skin's under there and it's still there. And when those temperature changes happen, something's going to let go one day. And that's when you come in and you see the paint flaking off the millwork. And you say, wonder what happened there. Yeah, it's like buying that paint that BEHR Bear makes. that was exterior paint with primer included. Exterior paint with primer included. That is such a line of hookey you never heard of, really. When I painted my house, I did the windows, the frames of the windows red. And to save effort, she picked the paint that was on that bare lineup. I said, I'll get this one. I'd already primed the windows, but I didn't I didn't go back and redress them. That's what's flaking off. That red paint. None of the other paint. That red paint right there. You can just go up there and find it along the edges of the jams, and it'll flake. But red gives up early because of pigments or something. But you're like, why? When you start mixing them, and you said people change, oil-based paint doesn't support mold, does it? Think about it. Think when we were all kids in our house, we were all painted with oil paint. Did they mold?
Well, no, they
I didn't have paints like that.
But remember, back then, it was the Dutch boy paints, and that paint was made by National Lead Corporation.
That's right.
I remember the paints that we had that we're referencing, they all had lead in them. That was the good stuff.
Yes, it
was.
was.
That was the good stuff. That's the reason why we're still part of the greatest generation.
Yeah. Well,
my dad worked for National Lead Corporation, so that's why I knew that.
Right? Hell yeah. What a segue. All right, folks, it's top of the hour. Welcome to the Tips and Tricks evening. We have quite the program lined up. We've got several folks that have already volunteered to show off some of their knowledge that they've come across the hard way, or maybe they've learned from somebody else the easy way. But either way, we're going to get to experience it tonight. So
we're not safe because I understand that Paul Hannaby signed in.
Yes, sir, he did.
Yeah, so just so you know, besides Scott.
Yep, and I got Paul on my list as well. So, all right. So, without further ado, let's go to Gary. He's been working on a pretty cool project for quite some time now, and he's got something to share with us on it. Go ahead, Gary.
Gary, that's you.
Gotcha. I have got two little projects that I've been working on, and one of them is my tool holder. So I'm going to share screen, and let's see, this one here should be okay. Did it come up okay or not?
Looks good. Does it roll around?
Okay, because I'm not I'm seeing myself.
Well, you look good too.
You seeing a wheel or a handle, motor and a handle?
No, sir, I'm seeing a 3-file desk file with a compartment on top.
Oh, okay, that's the other one. Okay, we'll start there. That's maybe where I wanted to go. This is, I wanted to find a place that I could hold all my tools and yet roll them around. And this is one from Birdhouse Bob. So I've either got to thank him or we've got to blame him, because this is his that he sent me, what he did with his roll around for holding his tools. So I started out with my own. I had a 2-drawer cabinet that would work real good for me. And back several months ago, I asked, well, guys, should I angle my sides where I put my tools? And the answer was no. And I'm thankful for people that popped up on that, because this is what I ended up with. I went with the straight sides, and with 4 drawers, I'd have had a heck of a time getting those drawers in there with sloping sides. But that has worked out real well. It's not finished, but it's well along to where I can roll it anywhere right up beside me while I'm turning. And I will swap out whichever tools I'm using the most for there. Cold jaws. My lathe is a 1 inch by 8 TPI. So I found on Amazon a 1 inch by 8 by 3 inch, two of them in a package. So I got that and fixed the holders there. So my cold jars fit on there real well. Bottom drawer, I now have where I can set my chucks. Eventually, I want to try and put something in the bottom of the drawer that the chucks will kind of sit in and not slide around a whole lot. But that's that. This is what the front looks like. Didn't have any good handles, so I had some old wood, some old oak. I threw them on a lathe that I've got and turned my own little handles, but I don't know if I'll keep them or not. The hole spacing is exactly the same as if I were to go get some regular drawer handles.
Don't go by handles.
Well,
Don't go by handles, bud. No, that's hard.
yeah, because I can actually take my air hose and drape it over the handles to hold the air hose when I want. The other side, I do a lot of 3D printing, so I printed out some drawers. I do not have anything in them yet because this is all still work in progress. I've got to figure out what I'm going to do down here. And on the back side too, I've got some real long handled tools, and I may put those on the back side. There is my one chuck that I have right now for my vacuum chuck. And we'll see that in part 2 of my tips, tricks, and whatever. But so that's what I have done so far.
I like those heavy duty draw slides.
Yes, they will pull completely out, and there's supposedly, I can't remember, I think they were like 75 pounds or more a piece, supposedly what they'll support. And with I think there's 5 of the chucks in the drawer here, so it starts getting heavy, or can. And this one here, I've got some of my the tools for checking the thickness of the walls of the bowls I'm turning, and more stuff in this one. So that's what I'm doing. There are 4 casters down there, and each one of them is a locking, so that I can move it wherever I want, move it right up to my lathe, which you can see the end of right there. Turn it around any direction I need, and I really like it. And the height, I made it so I can, in theory, slide it right underneath my cabinets even. So
Nice.
that's some of the other things to think about. And I had a little 1/2 inch ledge here, so that sometimes I'll throw a tape measure or other things up there as I'm working. It's a good place to throw them. They're not going to roll off, but yet they're in arm's reach, as you're working. So that's what I have done for that.
Can I give you an idea on a draw on it inside that draw for the chucks? What I did, I had something similar. I took one of those floor mats that I had for standing on at the lathe. It's about a 1/2 inch thick foam.
Yes.
It cuts very nicely with the utility knife. And I cut that, and I just put the indents of where the chucks should be. And it worked out great. It didn't hold moisture, and it worked really good to keep them in place.
I'll have to think about that. In fact, sometimes you get some of that foam with some of these things that you'll buy. which is triggering my mind right now. I got a new 3D printer, and there was some of that black. It's about 3/8 of an inch thick, maybe it's a 1/2 inch thick, that was on top, you know, as you open the box up. And that would probably more than fill that and work real good, exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
So
Work for me was charm. I'm looking at the
There you go.
tail end of the lathe.
Okay, now this is for my vacuum chuck. I've been working on a vacuum chuck. It's still a work in progress. Of course, this is the motor, and this is the handle for the spindle, and the spindle is right there. And if we kind of, when you take that off,
We looking at a mountain.
I'm sorry.
We have an image of a mountain came up in there. There we go. That's coming into
It's in the center.
Am I back to the lathe?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're fine. The
Back.
picture's in the center.
Okay. Well, it's doing the whole screen then. Yeah, let's see where it is. That's the back of Half Dome right there. If you're seeing that also.
You're fine. The picture's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, you take that off, and that's the spindle. And this is on a Grizzly lathe. And this is a cast spindle. So I had to design the shaft that's going to go into it. And for anybody that is going to do a vacuum chuck, if you have to ream the inside for O-rings, as a reminder or a tip or anything else like that, when you're reaming, you have to make sure that the reamer is perfectly straight with the shaft. So what I did is I moved my head to the right, took the tailstock over on the left-hand side, and this is the adjustable reamer that you can adjust it to ream the inside to exactly the dimension you need for your O-rings. And so that's how I reamed it. You're not putting pressure on with your tail. You're just keeping it perfectly straight. And so this is
Hey,
my
Gary.
Yeah, go ahead.
Wouldn't it be wiser to instead of modifying your lathe to accept a specific kind of O-ring, wouldn't it be wiser to make your fitting, adjust your fitting, so you don't have to do things like ream out your headstock there?
The inside of the of it is not smooth, and I don't know if O-rings would actually seal as good.
Okay. Do you want to see mine to compare?
And let's let Gary get through his first, Matt.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, Dane.
So
No worries.
This is exactly the dimension that I needed. And at the end, I'll have the references of where I pulled up for a specific O-ring, what all your dimensions need to be. So I cut two glands for the O-rings that will fit into the spindle. And then let's see, there it is without. Now this is that handle that we had before. It fit onto the collar that I had there. So this all screws into my spindle. Here's it is. So here's that handle or whatever wheel on the end of the spindle. It rides on here. My O-rings fit in the glands. Now, this is actually the first option that I did, and it turned out to be a failure. And everything that I had found, it sounded, they did not specifically talk about the sealing. And it led me to believe that the double seal bearings would seal the vacuum. Well, the bearings I bought, it did not. Now, there may be ones out there that will do that, but none of the YouTubes or anything else that I saw addressed this. So, and these are the aluminum stock that I used in it. There it is with the two bearings on it. And this would be the handle that, and then this is the other end that the bearings were press fit into. Well, here it is again. It did not work because this did not seal. And it took me a while to do some testing to find out that, yes, I was losing my vacuum through the bearings. So that was work in progress. Here's what I designed to actually press those bearings into this end that hooked up to the vacuum chuck. There it is there. Okay, because the bearings were not sealing, I had to go to a different design, and I redid the end and put another O-ring here, and it sealed properly. So I had these two, which slip inside of my spindle. The bearing rides right here, which rides on this so that this pivots properly. There it is. And you can see I have it all greased up with silicone grease. And it has worked out very well. There it is sitting now on my lathe. And for Captain, I won't have any more catches because of you know, something that I stuck on my lathe.
Hey,
Yeah,
that worked for me.
So anyway, and I'll have a reference too of the plumbing that I haven't mounted yet, but it's holding. Let's see here. Okay, right now I've got 36.5 inches is what all of this system is holding on this specific one. And I had at the other end of the spindle, I just had a piece of rubber stuck on it to hold it there. Now, on the other end, thanks to another member that, was doing the wood or talked about and showed these, this is kind of a copy. I did a recess here for an O-ring that I put on this end. So I have a real good seal on this end when this is slipped on. And there it is there. And that was a block of wood that I had a piece of the that 16th inch foam stuck on it. And that's where I was getting that 26.5 inches of mercury. So it's holding real well. There's another one of them. That was the 4-inch union piece on it. And I've now used it a couple of times, and it has worked out very well. So I thank you, everybody. Oh, and two, yeah, Eddie, I've got one here and I've got one here. I actually have.
Oh, you doubling up. Wow.
I'm trying to make sure I'm protected well.
There you go.
With belt and the suspenders.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you very much. Let's see here. I've got to see if did a Word document come up right now?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Okay, the Word document, the O-ring information that I have that I used, because you're talking in thousandths of an inch on the aluminum and everything else, came from Marco Rubber and Plastics. And I can try and throw this in the chat, or somebody can screen capture it or anything else like that if anybody's interested. The O-ring design construction is at their site there. The static rod and piston gland information, and that's that. The plumbing design that I used for the plumbing, came from YouTube. Vacuum Chucks by John Geim, February 2013. It was the Rocky Mountain Wood Turners, and that is the YouTube link to that. And that's where I got a lot of the information for how to design my plumbing on the vacuum. So any questions from any of it from anybody?
No, I think that was a pretty good project.
Very good.
It was a really good project.
Yeah,
Thank you.
congratulations, Gary.
Two
Very
great
good.
projects. Thanks for
Well,
sharing, Gary. I'm
yeah.
sure that's going to spark a lot of interest for some of the members, especially your tool storage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, you've got 10 people, you're going to have 11 ideas.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And that's what I'm throwing out. And it's
Right.
that's still a work in progress. But yeah, I appreciate all the help from everybody.
I didn't want to go down to color selections. That's okay.
Very good. All right. So for our next tip, we're going to span over to our Master Blaster Webmaster Extraordinaire, Dave Rhodes. But first, I did want to make a sorrowful announcement that one of our members, Bob Moffat, his wife, passed away last Friday.
Oh, dear.
She'd been having problems. But if you could, you know, if you're friends with him on Facebook or friends with him locally, you know, shoot him a message. You know, it's a hell of a time of need and whatnot. He cherishes this group just like family as well. And any kind words or support you could lend out or shoot out to him. You know, a nice birdhouse, Bob. You know, how you doing? That would be great, especially with tomorrow being Thanksgiving. You know, he's going to be with his family and whatnot, but at the same time, he's not going to have his number one with him. So, with that, let's carry on with the program here. So let's span back to Dave Rhodes here, and he's going to talk about the greatest website there is on the internet.
I just wanted to point out to everybody that we have a YouTube channel, and I try to put things up on it every week. And I'm always a week behind, but you can see I've got things from the 15th, and I've got things from the 4th, and I've tried to break them down in ways that'll be useful. In other words, I've got a playlist for the meetings, so you can see the entire meeting. And I've got the demos broken down, so you can go to just the particular demos. And I decided that I would do something somewhat perhaps silly. Anytime you show a new tool that you've made, I'm breaking that out and I'm putting it up too, because I think people might like to see those. I know I've gone back and looked at individual items about them. The display that you're seeing here may or may not look exactly like what you're expecting. So if you look at the label, you'll get a good idea what it is. By the way, Wayne, I never saw your last name, so I don't know what it is. So I just put you down as Wayne, but I seem to have put most of the other people down by the first and last name. So if you put your full name on the screen, I can check it out and I'll know who you are, and I'll give you full credit as not just Wayne. Sorry about that.
That's no problem, David. I'll try and do that.
Okay,
his last name is Clasper, Clasper.
Clasper. Thank you very much.
How do y'all know he's not hiding from the government or something? Hey, watch this. You know, he might not want to be out.
Well, it's not just Wayne, it's actually everybody. Most people seem to put their first and last name down, and I can grab that information. Sometimes people put up just their first name, or they have the iPad 2. Doesn't help me when I'm trying to put things up. So I just wanted to point that out, kind of. And now we'll switch over to this one. And oh, by the way, over on this side, oh gosh, let's switch over to this again.
Dave, I just want to say that I really appreciate all the hard work you do every week for the web, for the videos and splitting everything out. I think it's great. I think you've done a fantastic job.
I enjoy doing it. Somebody asked me to show them to give a demo of how I do it. that would really be dull. So I'm not going to try to do that. I have to tell you. All I do is I go through and as we're having the meeting, I'm making lots of notes that at such and such a time something exists, and then I go through and I chop the things up in a video editor. And then I
somebody's wanting some IT help for their YouTube channel.
Yeah. Anyway, the point was, if you check the playlist, you're going to find, I'm not going to go to the playlist because I'm logged in as me, and you'll see other playlists that you don't want to see because it's every playlist in existence that I've got. But if you go to playlists here, you'll find that I have about 6 playlists that are breakdowns of things like people explaining how they do their finishes, things like the tutorial and demos and the tools to make, but there are other items there too. And you might find some of those other items that I'm breaking it down into useful for you.
Very good. It is a very good playlist.
And I should point out that the playlist might have something bizarre in it, because I know Dane found a playlist that had some music on it. It's not music I was embarrassed about, but I think it dated me, which means it came out of the 60s. And you're probably not interested in the music from the 60s, or at least not as a worldwide wood turner, you're not. So if you see one of those, send me an email and I'll get it off the worldwide wood turners.
We all had long hair.
Oh, okay, that's good enough. But I just
we all had hair.
You're liable to find some of those things interspersed.
I still have long hair.
You still...
Bragger.
Anyway, back to this now.
Some of y'all are refusing to give it up.
And I wanted to...
I ain't never giving mine up.
Right.
That's fair enough.
Been 23 years since I've had a haircut.
If you come to the Worldwide Wood Turners page, you're going to find that I'm putting up things, and they're not changing very much. Right now, I've got things up that are specifically, well, at least a few of them were specifically related to Christmas. And I'm saying, well, in case you wanted ideas of what you might do, this might help. But anyone that wants to send me some information that could go up, I would really appreciate it, because some of these pages are useful for folks that need information about the correct way to put up a chuck, for example. You don't have to send me the actual pictures. I did these pictures. If I remember right, Dane actually sent me some drawings and I converted them to digital, but you don't even have to do that. But give me some ideas and some text that you think might be appropriate, and I'll put it up. I would love to have more things under the articles, and we have quite a few articles. We've evidently got at least 3 pages of them at the moment, and if we had more, that would not be a problem. We have gallery.
Dave.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, this is Bob. Say, I really like the web page, but I have trouble seeing what you changed or what you just put out there. Is there any way to make that more noticeable, that you have added this?
Well, to tell you the truth, okay, I guess I can try doing that. This site doesn't change a lot. When I say that, the last time I added an article was quite a while back, and
probably on the chucks.
Put a picture along with this. Yeah, I think it was the chucks. Anyway, but yeah, I will start doing that. You can also come over to this page, and you'll notice that
Dave,
the right margin has the chats.
Dave, we're still on the YouTube page.
On the YouTube? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
well, we'll have to change that.
Thank
you for mentioning it.
You bet.
I thought we had switched over. Is it switched over now?
No, we're still on the YouTube.
No. Okay. Well, we'll have to adjust that. I guess that means I have to somehow or other find myself back on the website. Oh, where the heck did I even go?
open it, try opening it as a tab, Dave, in the YouTube, and you might be able to get to it that
That's
way.
what I'll do. That's a good solution to the problem.
Yep.
I don't have to hassle it then.
Thanks, Matt. Read my mind.
Okay, here we go. Okay. Gee, somebody should have barked at me earlier because I've been pointing around at nothing, it looks like. Now do you see the right page?
Yes, now we got the page.
Okay. What I was pointing out was right now the articles are kind of related to Christmas, but there's some other things around up here like the eggs and the chucks. And I was saying, if you happen to have a chance to send me something about any topic, if you can give me the a little bit of text and an idea what you think might go in it, I can create the graphics, or I will create the graphics, and I'd be happy to hear anything new that you happen to want to put up. I was also pointing out that the articles, there's a long list of articles, and
3 or 4
I'd be
pages.
happy to have you. Pardon me?
There's 3 or 4 pages on articles.
There are 3 or 4 pages, at least 3 pages of them, and I'd happy to have you give me new articles to add. Gallery, we have multiple galleries. We have the homemade tools. Things only go up for the homemade tools if you send them in to me and say, this is a picture of a homemade tool I made. It's not like under the videos on YouTube where I extract them from the video. And then we have the gallery of things people sending in. Under FYI, I'd like you to know that you can find templates. And that's, Eddie keeps mentioning this. And I ought to let you know that if you're doing something like you just want a picture, or if you, and we've got something here, for example, from the tops that Cade was doing. We have the embroidery files, and there are 4 of them available. Click on the one that you want. And there are other things that are perhaps of interest for you under one of these items, some sort of graphic that I can have. If we're doing something and you're doing a demo and you have a graphic, if you send it to me, I'll add it to this page. Happy to add it to this page. If you have a video that somebody did and you know who the person is, it's hard to find it on YouTube because I've got it by category. Here, if you want to find out what Bob Grinstead did last week, you know it had something to do with bird cages. You look for Bob Grinstead, and then you'll find the demos he's done, or the things that Mark Soleil has done, or the things that Bob Moffat has done, or Matt. So, and Dane, and anybody else that's done it, I'm categorizing them so that you can say, I know that Dane did it. And that kind of, narrows down your search. And this actually sends you back over to the YouTube channel. It doesn't bring it up on the website. So I thought you ought to know about that because we do have a lot of things that are demos that are great. And they're perhaps easier to find if you know who gave the demo. I should probably do those as playlists over on, never mind. I'm not going to give myself any more. I've got enough going on here. Okay. If you've got a website, if you can give me your website. We have a list of websites related to members, and I'd be happy to put up your website too. I'm not avoiding you. And there are some videos not videos. We started something at one time that was going to be, how do you guys do your finishes? Some people really gave me a little information, and some people just sort of said, well, I use tongue oil. I was going to create a page like that. It's not terribly full. If you have a non-YouTube person, non-member that's a YouTube person, and you think their YouTube channel should be visible to us because people would be interested, got a page for that. And I've got a list of clubs here. If you're in a club and you don't find your club on this page, let me know about it, because I'd be pleased as punch to put where that club is and the name of the club. A couple of the clubs I couldn't find an actual website for, and I'm curious if it's actually under some other name, but that was the name I had for it. Northern Florida Woodturners, and I couldn't find them online. Same thing with the South Piedmont Woodturning Association, but I did find the Southern Piedmont Woodturners, their website ended up. But I see they're different locations, so never mind. We'll keep going. Information you give, we'll make it up there. We have some different tools you might use. For example, we were talking about going someplace else to do a polar graphic, or index wheel. You can come here and get that sort of information. We've also got something that's off-site here. We've got stuff about urns and computing segments. And I'd be happy for you to go look at these. I'm not going to go to every one of these right now, but I'd like you to know that the website does have this, and I'm continuing trying to add things to this. If you see something that you'd like me to add, let me know. I'll keep trying to add that. Let's see, what else would be appropriate here? Sometimes somebody mentions something on YouTube, on the meeting, about something that they use or would like to use. And I think I've mentioned it before. I actually have pictures and things, and you click on it and you can find out where the person identified it was available. I'm not selling the product. It's just saying, trying to make it as easy for you to find it as possible. We have these recognitions, and I want everybody to make a comment today. Is it time for me to throw all these away and start over again? Because we have a lot of people that have qualified for certain areas, and they're listed, and there's nothing more for me to really add. And I thought maybe we should start again. It's up to you. We got wood stands, wig stands, same sort of situation. I can either start it over, or we can take new topics. Last week, there was a suggestion for a new topic, but I was thinking I'd really like to not make this go too much longer.
I'm all in favor of let's crank it up again.
Okay, yeah. Crank it up again. And should we zero out all these names and let everybody have a reason to try again?
Sure.
Yes.
Okay,
Absolutely.
We're going to zero these out and say, let me start adding you on for creating wig stands all over again. I mean, it's been as much as 2 years since some of these ended up on here, and we haven't had a good excuse for doing them. Same thing for the pen turners, right? We've got bottle stoppers, we've got birdhouses. If you want to know about events that are coming, please start giving me your events. I'm not getting a lot of events. I have right now only us. I think we've got an interactive from Cade coming up, and we know about the wood spun roundout, but I just love to know about your events so it can go up here. Just let me know.
That's the place for you YouTubers that do your lives and your IRDs and whatnot. This is the place where you can actually advertise it without me saying anything.
And it should be where all the symposiums are listed. Hey,
it should be. And we've had some symposium. I'm having trouble with my mouth today. Some symposiums listed, but not all the heck that I'd like to see there. I'd just love to see more go there. And we also here on the website put up 3 meetings worth of our videos off YouTube so that you don't have to go anywhere else. We have the newsletter. It's been missing a few months. If somebody wants to take up helping putting together a newsletter, I'd be happy. I know that it's a little complicated at the moment, and Eddie hasn't had a chance. So if somebody else wants to take on that
Uh,
Yeah, it would be great.
Dave, it's not that I don't have a chance. Um,
I'm not picking on you,
I-
Eddie.
I
I'm
just-
No,
really not.
we understand, Eddie.
my
No,
All good.
I'm
disease
not
keeps
picking
me
on you.
from continuity, and it's terrible.
It's all good.
Yeah, and that's what I'm
I'm-
saying. What we really need is somebody here needs to volunteer to do that. We
So
can send
so
it
we
over
got
to
a
you to have you edit it or something, and
we have
we'll
a
take that
member
burden.
that's a former publisher, and
Oh,
I'm working on twisting his. I've got him in a half chicken wing right now, and I'm getting ready to
Dave,
dislocate his shoulder.
Dave,
yeah.
I'm a trained Navy journalist and used to publish daily newspapers shipboard. I'll be glad to help.
I love it. Now I have to tell you, I can't tell from your voice who you are, and I'm staring at
This
my.
is Joaquin.
Joaquin.
Okay, Joaquin. If we can start doing something, I'd be just pleased as punch. I mean, Eddie's really does too much for us. I mean, he does everything for us. I am so in awe of Eddie.
Joaquin, is that an official volunteer?
Yes, I'm raising my hand.
Okay, then
Right, well,
we're in
I can't
great
see it.
shape.
Okay, sounds
We're
good.
gonna-
I will get you and Dave and me together, and we will get this hammered out. Sounds great.
I love
Thank
it.
you.
Sounds good. Absolutely.
I love it.
I'd love to.
Appreciate it.
Love to help.
And some people are still having trouble finding the contact list. Let me point out that if you fill in here, it takes you a week to get that information. If you click here, you get the thing instantly if you fill the information out there. This is an automated system that just sends out the contact list. This is a system that gets to me, and I'm not very good about going to my mail, I have to admit. I go to it maybe once a day, once every other day. And I don't know if anybody noticed, I've stopped putting things up on Facebook. When I was doing the galleries, I mean the videos, I was putting notes saying the videos are now on YouTube. Facebook didn't like me. They kicked me off twice, saying that I was trying to do some sort of advertising.
Right.
And so I've stopped putting it out there, and I apologize. I'd love to put it out there. They put me back online because I took almost 2 weeks to explain to them I'm a member and I was requested to do it. And I got a nasty note back that said, "Are you really? Okay, we're going to put your website, your Facebook back online, but we're watching you." So I'm now afraid to put the notices that the videos are up now on YouTube.
The trick for sharing videos on Facebook is don't put them in the main message body. Write up that you've put a new video and then put the link actually as a comment in your own post.
Oh, is that the secret?
Yeah, because
Okay.
it just takes it that somebody else has shared a video, whereas if you put it in the main body of the post, Facebook take it that you're using it as advertising.
So I've been posting them, and so even as the admin, same thing. You think
You're better off saying blah blah blah, new video by whoever. Link is in the comments, and then put it in as the first comment in the comments, and then people will go down, click on it then, and Facebook don't tend to pick up on it then.
Okay, well, that'll be great. That'll allow another 150 members to say, "Where's the link at?"
Yeah.
Well, that totally explains some of the conduct I'm seeing online and why people are doing that. Thank you very much for that information. That's useful.
Okay.
Definitely.
I'm going to remember that, and I do apologize that you haven't been seeing that, but I was just tired of fighting with Facebook every 2 weeks because I kept kicking me off. We're back to one more page I'm going to show you, and then I'm going to turn this back over to Dan because I'm certain you're getting tired of looking at the internet. We're not here to look at the internet. We're here to see the fantastic world. On the website, I do have some videos like tips and hints, and the things that we talk about today are going to end up in this list. I can see the indexing jig. Okay. But it's kind of confusing. It looks like there's only one there. I'm sorry, I'm not bright enough. Somebody may know how to do it. I couldn't figure out how to get a good playlist. The only way I could figure out to get a good playlist was to put up the most recent one and have the option to click this, and it gives you a list of the stuff. I couldn't figure out how to get it to be permanently
That
open.
works for me.
If somebody knows
Yeah,
that,
it works.
please.
I mean, everybody knows what, the three dashes or the three dots are for. It's to expand and see the menu. So, and if folks
Exactly.
don't know that, then I don't know what to tell you.
So for example, if you go to YouTube, you'll find this playlist. You'll find a playlist of tips and hints. I was pointing out the playlist page and saying, go there because there are other things. Well, this is an example of where I'm using it. And you can find those finishes, okay, finishes and finishing. I made the comment that I'm taking out things about finishing and finishes. I have to admit this one didn't come from us, but 99% of them are from us. I just happened to see this particular one online and thought, oh, I like this one. We ought to have it. But when you've been talking about your finishes, I've been stealing that information and putting it online. So anytime you want to talk about your finishes, I like it. I hate to tell you. Have I talked enough? Is there anything else you'd like to know about the YouTube channel or the website itself?
Dave, I think you've done a fantastic job.
Thank you very much.
I think everyone will say the same thing. I swear.
Oh, and by the way, the chat is here on the right, for 3 years.
I'm positive.
So we've got 166 of them.
Fantastic.
Quite
Okay.
the collection. You'll be hard pressed to find another website online that offers the amount of information that is offered on this website. And even the websites that you have to pay for don't offer this information. So
Scott wants to let you know that we can get those t-shirts. I'll mention that. Mentions the embroidery. If you just need a logo, we got the club stickers. That's old. I got to get rid of it. We're not doing plates and platters today. We're doing the hints. And we got printable cards. And
let's go to the barter page.
Doesn't look like that's coming up at all. I got to find out why our map isn't coming up. The barter page.
The barter page.
We don't get enough activity on the barter page. We need people to say, oh, I want to barter things. Can I say that? And we've got the barter board, and we've got a suggestion board here. So if you want to barter away something, please add it to this page. If you're not interested, that's fine. I mean, I can't say much about that, except I don't have anything I want to barter away today either. But there's also the suggestion board. If you need a suggestion, we currently aren't getting a lot of people putting anything in here, so not many people are commenting or going there to check it. But I bet if we had a lot of people asking questions, we'd have a lot of people going to the board and saying, oh, you needed help about something, and I got the answer.
That's what we do here.
So one thing about the barter page is you do have to register with a username and password.
Yes, you do.
So we know you are a
that you belong here.
Person.
That's right. We haven't had many people, but that have tried to get in. I think I only know about one person that tried to get in that did not belong and was planning on spamming us. But at least if you register, we have some idea who you are, and we can try to check you out and minimize the garbage that we get.
Right.
Any other questions or comments? And any suggestions you have about what could go on any page, I'm willing
Real
to.
Quick, Dave, how can they get any suggestions or to submit any information? How do they get that to you directly?
Well, one you can directly. Gosh, can I get back from here? I don't even think I can get back.
Stop sharing.
There we go. We'll
go
we'll do
up
this.
to the other. There you go.
We'll do this. Here we go. You can contact me here, or oops, okay. You can contact me here. I was going to show my email address, but my email address is, I'll put it in the chat. You can also go to the contact form and you'll contact list and you'll find me. But I'm Dave at crescentcitywebs.com. So you can send something directly to me, or you can send it to the webmaster at worldwidewoodturners.org.
Yep.
Either one of those will get to me.
That's right. Or you can send it to me and I'll make sure it gets to Dave.
And I'll make sure to lose it if he said, no, I'm kidding. I love getting things from Dave. So please, if you've got a suggestion or a comment or something to add, send it to webmaster at Worldwide Woodturners or to Dave at crescentcitywebs.com.
Very good. Thank you, Dave. I appreciate
Thank
you
you.
running through doing the Cliff Notes version of the YouTube and the website.
Okay.
All right. Up next, we have a special person that I need to get in because he is not feeling too well. He is also a first timer. I'm looking for you. Jay,
Right
where
here.
you at?
Right here. Do you hear me? You see me?
I can hear you. I'm just looking for you right now.
Yeah.
There we go. There we go.
There you go.
Got you, Jay.
Hey guys, Jay Penfield, Detroit Area Woodturners Club. I'm actually the president of the club this year. It's the first time on the meeting here. I'm very, very happy to be here. Been talking with Dane for a while, getting to know each other. Matt Harbour is a dear friend of mine. In fact, Matt was here today. And what I'm going to share with you. Yes, he was. Hey, Matt, how are you?
I'm good.
Just remember, Jay, we don't hold that against you.
I didn't think you would. So, and if you did, I wouldn't care. So it's all right. You know? First of all, let me say thank you to Cap Medi for all you do for the community. I've been following you for a long time. Tom Kaiser actually introduced me to you about 7 years ago, maybe it was. But appreciate you and all that you do. Thank you so much. Matt's been helping me for the last couple of weeks. I'm making an urn for a friend that passed away. So we're in the process of doing this urn right now. And I was having a problem with the hollowing. I've got 3 hollowing systems that are similar to the Lyle Jameson system. And every time I try to work with the cutters on there, there's a lot of vibration. So I had bought a 3/4 inch bar from Todd Raines about a month and a half, 2 months ago. And if you guys don't have this, it's a phenomenal tool. Todd Raines did a great job designing this. And on short things, it works good. It's 12 inches long, but it wasn't long enough to get into this this unit to be able to hollow it for me. And I called up Todd and I asked him if he would make me one that was longer. I'd pay him for it. And he said, no, he doesn't want to do that. One of my karate students, I teach karate, he has a machine shop. And I was talking with him about it. He said, well, why don't you bring it over and show it to us? And maybe I can make one for you. So what he did, here's Todd's. He made me this one, 24 inches long, out of a piece of 1 inch stock. Putting that cutter on there right now, right there. And Matt can tell you because he was here today and saw it. The inside from top to bottom, 14 inches deep, was incredibly, perfectly smooth, clean, almost not sanding, almost not needing to be sanded. But this
it did a great job. Yep.
So what I'd like to do
That's
is this.
sweet.
I don't like to steal anybody else's idea or design. I would never go and make this up and sell it because it's Todd's. It's not mine. I would never do that to Todd or anybody else. But I'd like to see if there's an interest across the board with people like yourselves that would want to get a tool like this. I put this one on my robust handle in the 3/4 inch collet, and I've got 44 inches of tool, and the leverage was so smooth. I was able to get 14 inches deep with 0 vibration. It was incredible. Had my arm on top of the handle, sitting on top. I've got an American Beauty, so I was sitting on the bedways as I was doing the hollowing, and it was incredibly smooth and easy to work with. So I'd like to see if we have some interest in that, and then give Todd a call and say, hey Todd, I want to build you some more client base that you can sell these. It's your design, not mine. What do you guys think about that?
Well, we'd have to put that in the chat, but there could be interest on it for sure, Jay.
Okay. My knee is about to fall apart right now. For those of you that don't know, I had a knee replacement surgery last week, and I'm in a lot of pain right now. So I'm going to go and get some ice on it right now. I've been in the shop too long, as Matt can probably tell you today. He got here this morning.
Yeah, you shouldn't be there right now, Jay.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Get ice. Go get ice.
Yeah,
Sometimes-
nice one, Jay.
all right.
Thanks for that.
So
Sometimes-
Jay, how would you like to coordinate things? How would you like people to get in touch with you to coordinate things?
So let's do this with you and me and Dane, because they know you and Dane, and everybody's just getting to know me. Dane, if you can do me a favor, because I'm not in front of a keyboard, go into the chat and discuss this tool. This one is a 1-inch by 24-inch half round bar. Todd calls it his half round bar. So this one's a 1-inch 24, where his is 3/4, 12 inches. And see if there's anybody out there that's listening in earshot of my voice. They'll be interested in getting a tool like this for their shop. I'm telling you right now, guys, and one of my students make me one right now that's 4 feet long. That's gonna be an inch and a half thick. I talked to this morning's exam for me on Monday, because I want to get some really deep stuff, and I like working without stress. Matt knows me. I'm a tool whore.
He is, and he's a go big or go home guy too. So yeah.
So, but again, I don't want to take. But again, I don't want to take credit for something that I didn't come up with. This is Todd Rain's tool, not mine. It's his design, not mine. I want him to have the credit because it's his idea, his design. And if we can make him some money, because he's a member of the community, he's out there making tools for everybody already. It's his business. If we can make him some more money, I'd like to see that happen. So if you guys are interested, Dane, you can put out the message out there as to what I just discussed with everybody. And if we can get some interest up, and we can go back to Todd and say, hey, Todd, I know you didn't want to make that tool for me, but I got 20, 30, 40, 50 guys in the worldwide woodturners that's interested in buying it from you. Let's say you do a prototype, find out what it would cost you to make it, and get a price out there and make you some more money.
Yep.
As far as I'm concerned, you can either contact me directly or contact Dane directly, and we'll send it to you, Jay, and you can make that pitch.
Yep.
Does that work?
Excellent. Yeah, that works great. Because guys, I'm telling you, if you like hollowing and you hate vibration, this bad boy right here kicked ass on this 14-inch deep tool. It was great. What did he say here? Frank Sutton says made a 1.5 inch.
Yeah, Frank Soodall was the grandfather of the Lyle Jameson and similar hollowing jigs. Soodall pioneered that. I've seen that bar of his. That thing was probably 5 feet long.
You can't lift it, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. It took 2 people to put it up on the rest. I remember that.
You could do it from the neighbor's garage. Yeah.
My neighbor doesn't like me.
Okay.
My neighbor doesn't like me. I can't do that.
Then he had the car taillight on the end so you could see what was going on in there. It was a classic, but he did some huge hollow forms. I mean, they're like 3 feet long or something.
I got some Frank Soodall stories for you, Jim.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
I'm not a stranger to big stuff. Hold on a second. I'll show you one thing I do on a regular basis. I don't know if you guys know Ray Fraze. Ray's been my mentor for 18 years in wood turning. He's got a one-way 24-36 with a 11-foot bed on it. And because of my martial arts background, I'm constantly making 6-foot staffs. So I go to Ray's house and I'm constantly turning 6-foot material for the martial arts community. So I love turning big stuff, but my lathe is not that long. I turn these with a not yet exactly. Matt knows me too well.
I do.
Well, the next time you talk to Ray Fraze,
hey Ruby, how are you?
Ask him about the piece that I took over to turn at his place. It was 20 inches in diameter and 7 feet long.
Oh,
wow!
It was a trunnion jig for a bridge.
I want to be there next time you do that. When I do my 6-foot pieces, I'm using my Alan Lacer skew. I love this skew. Been using Alan's tools for 18 years now. His skew is actually not this one, but the first one I had was actually my first wood turning tool I ever bought, and I'm still using that one also. But Alan made me this one this year with a nice rosewood handle on it. And if you guys love skews, this bad boy does everything. So with that said, I'm going to tell you guys, thanks for having me today on the meeting. I will definitely be back and keep on coming out and be part of the community. And
outstanding.
I greatly appreciate all of you guys for having me out here, and I look forward to hearing from you guys and developing relationships with everybody. God bless every one of you. Have a happy Thanksgiving and a Merry Christmas if we don't talk before that, but God bless every one of you.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Jay.
Go take care of that
Exercising
knee.
that
Have a
knee.
great Thanksgiving.
Nice meeting you, Jay.
Yep. Have a happy
Likewise.
All
Thanksgiving.
right.
Ruby, you know me for a long time.
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
Sue. Let's go to Sue here real quick. She's got something pretty special to show, and she might even talk about something.
Yeah, you're right. I am now. If I get emotional,
It's understandable.
I haven't turned anything since Bob Moffat's challenge for Birdhouse Bob, and I really enjoyed that. But life happens, and 2 weeks ago, I was told I'm legally blind. So Dane had called, and I told him. And I'm not looking for sympathy, but I could sure use some prayers. But I said, okay, I can do this. I had talked to Mark Slay. He knows I've got the macular degeneration. And I also talked to Peggy Schmidt. And so I did turn 3 things this week. Actually 4 things, but 1 cracked. So forget the 4th one. But this was the first one I turned. It's a Vertex bolt action pen, and I did it in cherry.
Outstanding.
Lovely.
And that's the first piece. That's the first piece you've turned in over a year.
That's right. The second piece will just say cracked. It was an acrylic. Needless to say that wood is a lot easier than acrylic, guys. I made this for my cousin, and it's a double seam ripper. She likes to sew. I don't. Anyways, I think her husband hit it with some pliers here. I said, hey, that's not smooth anymore. He goes, you'd be the only one that noticed it. Well, I have to notice it with my hands, but yeah, I thought that came out pretty good. And I tried something different. I used Dr. Kirk's stuff, and I forgot where I bought it. But instead of using the GA glue, I just went to Dr. Kirk's and did the first one is like triple E, and then they have 1, 2, 3, and they're all different polishing compounds, and it worked pretty good. But then, yes, I'm going to repolish it with Vonix and wax. So that's what I got there. This one was the last one. I thought it turned
Very pretty.
Thank you. This last one was an acrylic. It's called the Earth Core. And I don't know if you see it.
Oh, nice.
It came out pretty good. And my cousin's husband wanted this. It's supposed to be a rose gold Magnum bolt action. As soon as he saw the kit, he wanted it. So he told me that last year. But anyways, that's what I did this week. And I just wanted to share with you guys what's been going on.
Much appreciated, Sue.
Thank you,
did
Sue.
a good job on those. Especially
There you
for
go,
being
Sue.
so far out of the shop
Beautiful, Sue.
and dealing with everything that you're dealing with on that. You did an excellent job on that.
Thank you. Now, Safety Sue says, make sure you still keep that face mask on when you're polishing.
Yep.
Okay. Yes.
Very good.
I was polishing one and I was underneath the Vonnex and it didn't have a good grip on it and it flew up around over my head. But yeah, keep that face mask on. Okay.
Outstanding.
But anyways, God
All
bless
right.
everyone. Be safe this week, and I hope to see you next
Sue.
week.
All right, let's head over to Wisconsin and check out the build that's going on with Scott's dust collection system. Hey, Scott.
So, hey guys. So I didn't quite get my dust collection system done because my local home center didn't have the parts I needed. But there's the start. The motor's hanging from the wall almost to the ceiling. The barrel is basically done. So under the barrel is a thine baffle, which has a slot cut in here. And if you Google thine baffles, you can see the slot. It's cut in here. It's underneath this piece here. This is just a ring that holds this section onto here. This was the original part of the dust collector that normally blew into the bag. So this is where the bags were attached. Your blower came in here. The bags were attached top and bottom. Now it'll be basically a cyclone. So that's that part. Hang on a second. I can kind of show you what a thine baffle looks like on this over here. So essentially, this is a thine baffle. Okay. So this is the top where my motor is going to draw from. Your hose would come in here. The air swirls around here and drops out before the air gets a chance to go back up to the motor. So it eliminates 99% of the dust. This one is bought at one of our home centers. It fits on a 5-gallon bucket. Use it on a 2-horse shot. 2-horse shop vac. It works really good. I hardly ever empty the shop vac. The 5-gallon bucket is the only thing I ever have to empty. So essentially that's what I'm building, is a bigger version of this. The other thing I wanted to talk about tonight, and some of you may know this, some of you may not. We're going to talk about how to set the jaws on your truck so they run true and fit like they're supposed to. So when you take your jaws off, most people just put them on, tighten them down, and away they go. Well, technically that's not the way you're supposed to do it. So my jaws are on here. You can see how sloppy loose they are. So when you just tighten them down, they're machined to be tightened down or hooked together. So when you go to tighten them down, what you should do is put them on like I got them loose. Screw them in. Tighten them up. So they're tight. Don't have to reef it. You're just going to tighten them up so they're tight. Now go around and tighten your screws. Just like you normally would do. And you don't have to get crazy on these either. Snug like an oil filter, somebody told me today. Now when those set of jaws were machined, they were machined like that. After they had been tightened, the slots had been cut, they've been put together. Now they machined the inside and the outside. That's the way they would have machined them. So they theoretically, they should be true. You should be able to take any part, rotate it 20, 30 degrees, and it still should run true if you've done this procedure. Anybody ordered the new chucks that Dane was talking about from the company that he posted? In the new literature for Nova, they actually tell you that's how you're supposed to set the jaws. One other thing I've done, because I have a lot of these jaws and they're all the same, they're all 50mm jaws. You don't want to mix and match jaw sets because they are machined together as a set. So I just take a little bit of paint the insides where I know it's not going to wear off real fast. And then I know what sets match each other. It's just another little tip and trick. And if you got multiple sets of the same size jaws, it's a good way to keep them from getting mixed up in the drawer or wherever you store them. And then the other thing I got to show. So I bought a new lathe this spring. And it's got a 1-inch tool post in it. I can get this turned around. So being frugal guy that I am, I didn't want to buy new. I wanted a 4-inch, and I have a 4-inch and a 3-inch tool post or tool rest that fits my Jet Mini. Well, it has a 5/8 shaft, which obviously won't fit in a 1-inch shaft in the 1-inch truck that it has. So I've gone and bought a standard 1-inch bolt right here. And I've cut the head off and I've cut it off, cut the threads off. And now I'm in the process of boring a hole in there. So I'm boring a hole. And when you start the hole, you're going to start it with a center starting drill bit, which is a little different than your normal drill bits. This will get your hole centered and in this piece of bar stock straight. I'm just holding it in my pen jaws. And I got it almost to the back of the jaw set. It's almost touching the back of the jaws. And these come in different sizes. So this is I don't even know what size this one is. Called a number 5. They also come a little bigger. They also come a little smaller. And they even come down as small as 1/8 inch. 16th or an 1/8 inch. I don't currently have any of these out here. These are things machinists would use. So when you go to drill this, you're not going to start out drilling this at 5/8 of an inch because you're going to just about tear your machine apart. Any machine, drill press, whatever it is. So I started out at 1/4, drilled it at 1/4. Then I went to 3/8. Now I got 1/2 inch in here. And I got this hole just about done. So I'll show you what I'm going to do now. To keep oil off your lathe, get some kind of little container. You can see this one's full of a lot of gook, metal shavings. This is cutting and tapping oil. Can you see this, Dane? I can't see my camera.
Yes, perfect. You can see it.
Okay, so now I'm going to screw this up. And I got this set up so that it just touches the front of this, and my tailstock has an index on it. Well, I got it set at 0. I'm going to turn the speed up to about 250 RPMs approximately. We'll drill the last 1/4 inch of this, or a little less. You're going to screw this in. And you can hear it. I don't know if you can hear that sound. Can you hear that?
No, not really. Zoom
Okay.
is muffled.
So it should sound like a grinding stone, like a what's the one I'm thinking? Like a Tormac. When you're honing, that's the sound you should hear. If it's any louder than that,
sounds like somebody gurgling.
Right, exactly. So I'm just cranking this in real slow. Now you can see the chips starting to come out. When you get about that much for chips there, you should back it out just like you would normally drill in wood. Back it out. I'm going to take one of these little cheap acid brushes just because I don't like metal shavings in my fingers. And I'll clean that off. So now I got that hole as deep as I wanted on the 1/2 inch drill bit. I'll switch this out so you can see what it looks like when you start out the hole. And I'm doing this all in my wood lathe, so you can do this at home. Just remember when you do this that you don't use these bits on wood after you use them in this steel, because you're not going to drill very nice. So now I'm going to set my tailstock at 0, run that up and just bump it. Make sure your tailstock's locked down good. I'm going to give it a squirt of oil. Don't be afraid to use a lot of oil. You can hear it how it's starting. Sound you don't want. You either got to speed it up a little or turn it down a little. Trial and error.
Cutting oil is key.
Now, if you see, turn this off. If you see these drill shavings start to turn blue, these curling, if you can't pick these up and hold them in your hand, you're feeding too fast. You also noticed on this big bit that I've been dripping oil on it as it's turning, because it generates a lot of heat and it'll actually harden the front of that drill bit and make it not cut so good. You can tell the minute it starts getting oil, that noise goes away.
I hope you have a spare belt.
Nope, it's not dragging on the belt at all. There's no drag on that machine at all. I'm watching the RPM gauge, and it's going down maybe 5 RPM when I engage the drill bit. I'm turning really slow, maybe a 1/16 of an inch per crank, if it's even that much. The oil is your friend, use as much as you can. Back this out, get that big curl out of there because it's not cleaning itself.
Just a little bit more.
Yep. So I'm drilling this hole roughly 1 inch and 2 5/8 inches deep, approximately. And there's the bottom.
You do.
We'll get this out of here.
Are you doing that on a 70-30-40 by chance?
No, I'm doing it on a 1640 jet lathe. Brand new one. So now you can see I can touch this. It's pretty warm, but it's not so hot that you can't touch it. The drill bit's hardly hot at all, especially on the tailstock end. The cutting edge is a little warm. So you can see that that drill bit is the same color black it was when it started. I haven't even heated that drill bit. And that's because I've used enough oil. Now, theoretically, that should be the right size hole. And look at that. I just created a sleeve shim. Let me set this someplace so it doesn't make a mess. I'm going to take and undo this.
I'd suggest putting some drill and tapping some set screws in the side so the tool rest won't turn.
That'll be the next procedure. So I'll take it to my drill press, put it in a V block, and I will drill it and tap it for a set screw. So now I have a tool post. Now I have a short tool post, and I saved that. That was an $8 bolt compared to buying all new tool rests. If you want to save yourself some money and you like the tool rest you have from your mini lathe, here's a way to create that new tool rest.
At a grade 8 bolt?
No, it's a soft bolt. It's a standard grade 5 bolt. You'll never drill a grade 8 bolt. You will wreck every drill bit you got. That's the last thing you want to do. So while I got this apart, Matt and I were talking the other day about making my own collets. So I don't buy collets either. I make my own. So this is a collet that I use on a 3/8 dowel or 3/8 tenon, whatever you want. Fits in the same chuck. I line the jaws up so that the slots are between the jaws. I happen to have a 3/8 dowel here. Three-eighths dowel. Can pull it through. You can see it slides through there. Just to show you, that don't move. And if it does move, you just give it a little more. Now you just created your own collet chucks out of. That's actually an old dowel broom handle. Here's another piece. And you can also use round plastic works as well too. So if you want to do something that's non-marring, the round plastic will do the same thing.
Just use your bandsaw to cut them.
This I cut on a bandsaw. Yep. So the actual slots, I have a back saw, a little hand back saw that they use for dovetailing. That's what I use for cutting the slots. So that's kind of what I had to show tonight. Has anybody got some questions?
Very informative.
So,
Great idea.
I'd like to add on about your chuck jaw tightening system. And so I see a lot of folks, online, they talk about, when they turn the outside profile of their bowl and then they turn around and they put it in the chuck, and they always, a lot of them will talk about, oh, I've got to resurface the outside, to make it run true. The reason why that bowl is not running true is because they didn't follow that procedure on tightening up their chuck jaws.
Yeah, I'd never heard that bit about bringing the jaws together and then tighten them down. I'd never heard that before.
Yeah, even with Nova's new literature that's coming out with their later model chucks, they actually spell it out now. I'm not sure if Bicmar or One Way have come around that way of thinking, but you know, at least Nova's doing it now.
Yeah.
So
What type of bolt did you say that was, Scott?
number 5.
It's a number 5 standard bolt.
Number 5 standard.
Yep, and this one happens to be, I think it's 8 inches.
That's
It can
a-
be whatever length you need.
That's a grade 5 bolt.
It's a non-hardened bolt.
Non-hardened bolt. Yep.
Right. 8 is hardened, 5 is non-hardened.
Right.
Right.
And they
Tractor
start
Supply
out.
sells those too.
You can get them at Tractor Supply. I believe Menards sells them. I mean, all your big box stores sell these big bolts.
Right.
Like this. And if somebody wants to do it quick, I'll hold this up. This is the cutting fluid I was using. We can screenshot it. And maybe Dave can put it on the website.
Yeah.
Hey, Scott,
Yeah.
if you put the oil on the point of your drill before you put it in there, there would be no sense of putting oil after you get about 3 or 4 inches in there, because the oil doesn't get to the tip of the drill.
That's
So
not true.
You have to back out and relieve the chips and then put the oil on.
No, that's not true. It will flow to the front.
They don't flow to the front. Why do they flow to the front? Because
of the way the twist.
The spiral of the drill is coming out.
Yep, right. But your spiral on your drill pitches to the nose.
Yes, it does. But when you're turning,
so your oil runs to the nose.
Gravity.
Gravity takes it to the nose of this drill bit. Hang on, let me grab it. So this drill bit, if you've ever been to a place where they manufacture drill bits, and I have, this drill bit actually is deeper here in the flute than it is here.
I didn't know that.
And it always flows to the tip.
It acts like a funnel.
Acts like a funnel. Yep. And the more you oil this bit, the longer it's going to last, and the better it'll be. This bit is already cool. I mean, there's no heat in it at all right now. And it was warm when I took it out. Not to the burn your hand point, but it was warm.
So when you add up the cost of the drill bits and the oil and the bolt, what is your total expense?
Less than $20.
So you're not going to use a whole 32-ounce bottle of oil, and the bolt cost $8.
And you'll probably use the drill bits for other things.
Right. If you take care of them, you can keep drilling other stuff with them.
And the drill bit can easily be resharpened.
Yeah, especially big ones. They sharpen easy.
The adapter is $20 on Amazon. So that's
you don't need an adapter. For a 5/8 drill bit, you don't need an adapter.
No. The adapter for using the lathe tools on a 1-inch is $20 on Amazon. That's why I was just wondering what the cost was. I mean, I think if it's cost,
I don't have. I know I don't have $20 in this whole setup.
Okay.
Hey, Scott,
even in this cutting
9 times out of 10, you already got the drill bits. 9 times out of 10, you probably already got the cutting oil. Even if you don't buy that cutting oil, you got linseed oil. That works as a cutting oil as well. So it's what a person wants to do. So what Scott's trying to show here is a way to make a collar insert without having to go someplace else and buy it. And so that's his tip and trick. So let's not,
something that you learned from what Scott just did, or something that I learned from what Scott just did, is thinking outside of the box, using ingenuity, making things in your shop. And to the point, you got a good point about looking on Amazon, but I can go in my kitchen right now and get a bowl out of the cabinet, but I instead go on my $12,000 lathe and turn one with a piece of wood that I spent hours processing and 2 years drying.
Thank you.
It's just a matter, but it's also, I think the real good point is thinking outside of the box and just designing things and creating things, which hopefully Jim Duxbury will be doing some tips and tricks, because his shop is his studio. You can call it a studio. You can charge more and sell the stuff at a higher end places. So his studio is just a walking museum of just genius ideas that just weren't bought down at the store. You know,
That's not a studio. I have a boardroom.
you have a studio. That place is incredible.
That's my boardroom.
But you don't have you don't have to buy a $8 bolt either. If you know somebody that's junking out a piece of machinery, there's your bolts.
You know,
you can get it anywhere.
I'm just talking, but you know, I have reservations about doing that, because the 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch tool rest is designed for that horsepower motor. When you start putting it on a bigger lathe, a 1 inch, when you start adapting it, you've still got a piece of machinery that was built for a lesser horsepower lathe, don't you? I mean, I'm just talking. That's my feeling.
Okay, Jim, I want to be devil's advocate. How many videos have we watched from guys that are in our club that are only online? Like, I can think of one of them. He's from Vietnam. He uses a wooden tool rest that he holds with his feet, and he's turning massive columns. There's if you're doing proper cuts, there's no pressure on that tool rest. All it is a place for you to hold your tool.
You must have good feet. I have to give
Oh,
it
he
to
does. Jim, I wish he was on Facebook so you can see this guy. His name's Spam. I can't remember the rest of his name, but he turns these 6 foot and 8 foot columns out of teak that are 3 foot in diameter. Just massive hollow form. It's impressive. I'll have to send you some pictures. But yeah.
Hey, Scott.
Thank you very much.
Hey, not a problem.
Great.
Hey, one thing to add with the on your chucks, because I just got one of the Nova 2s, and it also says I had trouble putting them on when they're new. The first couple times you may have to tap them into place because they may not fit down tight. So just one thing to think about. You got to keep them clean, and you may have to tap them into place first so that they seat against the chuck.
Yeah, because they have burrs on them. I did find burrs on that new set of jaws. So one more thing before I go, Dane. When I drill this hole for this 3/8 dowel, I'm not drilling it at 3/8 at a 3/8 drill bit. You can see here that I got it marked 3/18. That's the drill bit size. So you don't, when you're making your collet chucks, you don't make them to fit the 3/8 dowel. You make them just a hair smaller so that they grip tight, especially if you're using wood ones. If you're using plastic, it's not quite as bad, or some other material.
I was going to ask that on the tool rest too. If you have a 3/4 inch bar and a 3/4 inch hole, will it go into each other?
Yes. I just drilled that hole in that bar. That bar stock's got a 5/8 hole, and my tool rest is 5/8.
Okay.
Yeah. Because when they machine those tool rests, even your 1 inch tool rest isn't really truly 1 inch.
It's not nominal, right?
No, it's a few thousandths.
0.98.
Yep, your tool posts are just a hair smaller, or even I've noticed on this one, I mic'd this one because I was having problems getting a piece of 1 inch bar, and it wasn't the bar, or wasn't the tool rest, it was the bar. Had a burr on it. But when I mic'd this tool post holder, it was 2 thousandths over 1 inch. So they build clearance into them when they build them.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I've got an old Nova chuck that's got the Tommy bars. And on the instructions with that, it says to close the jaws before you tighten the bolts.
That's correct.
That is correct.
That's what Scott was showing.
Well, see, it's a man's disease. I didn't learn that till I read the instructions also.
It's in the instructions, but
Yeah.
Yep, it is now.
Reading it.
You gotta read the instructions?
I think so.
Well, so I'll tell you, my 2008 Nova, Chuck, those directions do not say that.
Oh, you read your directions. Okay, I didn't.
Hey, Scott, could
Well,
you show
since
that? Could you show that collet?
I went back. I went
how
back
you
and read
cut it?
Go ahead, talk.
Go ahead, Stephen. What?
Show that
got it
collet.
here.
Yeah, show that. How did you cut that? Oh,
I
you don't
just,
cut it.
I just took a center finding gauge, drew lines all the way across after I made it round and drilled the hole.
Right.
And I just took this saw. I can get it in there without my glasses. And I just took this saw and sawed it down roughly an inch. So this is an inch and a half approximately up and down. And I sawed it down 1 inch, so I left an inch on the bottom. And I just took a regular handsaw and sawed it. Thin blade handsaw. You can see this.
Yeah.
This is for doing dovetails and things like that. You could do it on your bandsaw. All it does is if you do it on a bigger saw blade, it just got to clamp it with a little more pressure. That's all.
And what's that 318 you have on there? What was that size?
So that's the drill size.
Is that a machinist drill?
So it's
nope.
So it's a decimal.
So it's the decimal equivalent to whatever drill bit they are, and I don't know if I can get that up close enough. When you buy a set of drill bits, you get the top set of numbers is the fractional number. The bottom set of numbers is your decimal number. So,
Okay, so
if you don't,
so what's the 318? That's not
318
that's the diameter.
Yeah, what's the fractional drill?
So it's in between 3/8 and 5/16.
Probably a letter drill.
It is a letter drill. That is
it a
correct.
letter?
It is a letter drill. Hang on, I got some of those.
Because you got 3 sets. You got fractional, you got the letters, and then you got the decimal drill bits. You know, in a complete machinist drill bit set.
So these are numbered drill bits. So these are called wire gauge sizes, and they're numbered. And they also have decimals. You can see the little decimals, and they get really small. I mean, teeny small. I can get them out.
Getting them back in's harder.
Well, it's the getting a little lever to flip. So you can see on these, they get pretty teeny.
Yeah.
They're down below a 1/16 of an inch. That's numbered drill.
Most number drills go to a 60, which is 040 thousandths.
Yep, correct. Somebody else is a machinist in this group.
But they'll go down to an 8. They'll go down to an 80, which you try and drill with an 80. That's
Yeah, you got.
That's 01.
You gotta have
0135.
Yep. So these are letter drills. So and they don't go down quite as far. They go down probably just a little over an eighth.
Yeah. And the pin turners out there ought to be familiar with lettered drill bits. So
yep.
Well, and if I might add real quick, I'm one of the machinists in the group too. I don't know how well you can see this. I would encourage everybody. You can find these drill and tap charts on Amazon for a few bucks. Usually they're made by Starrett. They tell you from a number 80 all the way up to an inch. They cover all the metric tap sizes, American tap sizes. Very handy to have. Even has the national pipe thread down at the bottom. So look these up. Drill and tap charts, what it's called, and it'll tell you everything this fine fellow's been telling you.
Yeah, good info, Brian. Hey, Brian, can you do me a favor? Save me the trouble of doing it. Can you put that in the chat as well?
Sure.
Right on.
So,
and
some of those
group, I think it's the first time you've been here.
Yes, sir. It's my first time.
Good to
Deb
have
and
you.
thank you.
Nice to
Deb and
have
I
you, Brian.
connected through, I think it was SK Crafts live, and he invited me over, and it's been a joy.
Good, good.
Cool. So,
All
so
right.
some of those number drill bits or numbers and letters will correspond with metric sizes too, just so you know that.
Mm-hmm.
They're actually the metric standard decimal point.
All right. Thank you very much, Joaquin. Scott.
Scott.
Joaquin, I'm getting ready to come to you next.
How much you been drinking?
Not
Okay,
enough.
good. It's getting cold
Not
out
enough.
here.
Already.
All right. So this is half safety, half tip. I've seen some demonstrators who are wood turning artists who I respect very greatly, but I have to, if I'm flipping on YouTube or whatever, but I have to stop watching their video because they're wearing gloves. And I cannot emphasize enough how dangerous it is to wear gloves when you're on a lathe. I spent more than 7 years shipboard in the Navy, and safety is something that they drive into you. It is, you live and breathe safety day in and day out underway. You are in an industrial environment 24/7 on a ship.
That's
and one
fact.
of the biggest sins in an industrial environment is having gloves on your hands around rotating equipment. So I set up a little demonstration. Now, first thing I'm going to tell you is this is dangerous. I'm going to put my face shield on. I have my lathe at the lowest speed range, and I'm going to start with the lathe at a stop. But what I'm going to do is show you what can happen if you're wearing gloves on the lathe. Now, before I get to that, some of the reasons that we wear gloves on the lathe, or we might want to wear gloves on the lathe, one of the reasons why I find a way to protect myself is if I'm turning resin, I get overpours from a friend who uses tabletop epoxy, which is extremely hard and it likes to shatter. And when it shatters, it cuts. And I've actually got cuts on the blade of my left hand as it's closer on the tool rest, and it's getting that shard from that resin breaking, right? So of course, we want to protect ourselves. That's painful. We don't want to do that, right? So the natural response is, well, I'll put a glove on. But when you put a glove on, what I've done here is I have a simulation. I have two 3/8-inch dowels through hot dogs to simulate flesh. Let me put my face shield on. This is dangerous. Don't do this. Because this is going to flap around. So the lathe is dialed all the way down and it says stop. Okay. Now I'm strong enough to stop this lathe. But do you see where that glove's going? Do you see where that glove's going? And if it's at speed, it's going to start breaking those bones in that glove. And it's going to do something that is called degloving. Now, what degloving is, as that keeps spinning around, we broke a bone. But what degloving is, as we keep spinning around, is this is the graphic part and why I used a hot dog, not my fingers. What degloving is the material of the glove is stiffer and stronger than your flesh. So you see how these hot dogs are coming out. That's what's going to happen to your skin and to the muscles in your fingers. That's why we don't wear gloves on rotating equipment. And I have had to turn off YouTube videos of incredibly good artists, people whose artwork I really respect, because I see them put a glove on because they're turning resin or something. Now, what's the solution to protect your hand? Because I get cut too. This is what I've found. These are silicone scar sheets. This one is marketed for C-section scars. Okay, and what this is medical grade silicone. It is only silicone. And it is treated in such a way that the back of the silicone retains the natural stickiness. So it comes on this little peel here. This is medical grade. It is supposed to be completely hypoallergenic. And it's naturally adhesive. So you just put it on the blade of your hand, just like that. And what this is almost a 5 milliliter thick pad. You can still feel things impact you, but it will not cut your skin because it bounces off the silicone. But the neat part is if the silicone gets caught, I'm doing it backwards. If the silicone gets caught, because it is simply on the surface of your hand, no damage, doesn't take anything with it. You just saw it. It's just right off. So this gives you protection safely and protects the blade of your hand. And when I'm using the resin, when I'm cutting the resin, and I know that it likes to chip and shard, I put this on my hand because I know if for some reason it did manage to get caught in what I'm turning, it's not going to hurt me. But at the same time, that resin's not going to hurt me. So the other thing that we got taught in the Navy is if you have to tell somebody, hey, you can't do that, we can't do that way, that's dangerous, you better have a solution. So that's the solution I've come up with. One other reason you might put gloves on is because it's getting too hot. That's a completely different problem. The problem there is your tools are too dull. If your shavings are coming off hot enough that it's bothering you, they're going to warm up. You're creating friction. But if it's coming up hot enough that it's bothering you, turn the lathe off, turn around to your sharpening station, and sharpen your tools. That's all I've got for you.
All right.
Very good. Good
A
info.
question on that,
One.
Joaquin.
Yes.
If you like, I used to ride bicycles, and I have just a palm glove. Is this still apply?
Absolutely. That's worse. And here's why it's worse. That's cut off right here, right around your knuckles. I used to wear the same ones on a bike, right?
Yeah.
So that's worse because if you've got that full sleeve of the glove, hopefully, back up. Hang on a second. Let me grab a nitrile glove.
While we're waiting for that, so I'm just going to throw this out there, Joaquin. Shouldn't your hands always be on the other side of the tool rest?
Yeah.
Well, yes, but if your glove catches, if something snags, stuff happens.
The
Your
other
hand
reason,
could always be on the other side of the tool rest. Absolutely. But
the other reason your tools can get hot is if you're burnishing, pushing the tool into the wood.
yeah. Okay, so a glove has a little bit. See, stuff happens. I just bumped the power switch. A glove has a little bit of protection because it does that, right? You've got that whole finger length, and especially like nitrile should break. Okay. Now, but these finger gloves, right, where the palm gloves, that doesn't happen. And all of this is bunched and it's tighter and it's heavier, usually heavier equipment.
Yeah.
So here I had this very little amount of material to grab and pull. But if for whatever reason, whatever you're doing, something snags, right, it's picking up a lot more material. And those palm gloves have thick, heavy, double sewn or even triple sewn pads here. And it's going to grab that and that's going to pull that in there. And look what that's doing to my fingers. It's actually, let's see if I can, look what that's doing to my fingers. That's forcing my fingers to start to close, which means is that material, that fabric pulls off of there, it's going to take flesh with it and it's going to degloving. Go Google it if you are not faint of heart. It literally peels the flesh right off your hands and just leaves raw bones. It's called degloving. It is absolutely devastating. And you usually lose the fingers that lose their flesh. So yeah, those or mechanics gloves that have the plastic pods in them because they're protecting your knuckles, right? Those will probably take your fingers from this knuckle all the way off and just strip it right off, strip the flesh right off.
How about golfer gloves?
A what? Golfer?
Golfer's gloves.
Same
Tight
thing.
leather.
It's still leather's stronger than your skin. Why do you wear leather gloves? It's stronger than your skin.
Well, I'm going to keep my
Basically,
hands on.
if you
I'm gonna
have
keep
to
my
wear a
hands at all
glove,
times on the other side of the tool rest. But I hear you.
yeah, if you have to wear a
Excellent.
glove, the safest thing you can wear is nitrile. Now, Jerry Meismer, who turns the cowboy hats, has some kind of a pH reaction with wet maple
latex,
and it turns his hands black and it turns the wood black. So he has to wear nitrile gloves to separate his natural oil from the wood. That's the safest thing you can wear, and you're still at danger of injury if for some reason you got caught. Your hand should always be on this side of the tool rest. What if I'm working small and I want to, how many of us will prop a finger under there so that we can get real minute control, right? Well, where's my finger? It's on the wrong side. Okay. That's a fairly safe thing to do right up until it isn't. Just like standing over here with your tools and keep your hands over here is really fairly safe thing to do until you get a catch and you jump and that glove snags. It happens. So the way to prevent it is not to get our hands over there. But
very good.
If we do get our hands over, if we're wearing gloves, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be disastrous. And if you're lucky, all you'll do is break your fingers. If you're realistic, you're going to lose the fingers because all the flesh was stripped off of them.
How many people do you see slowing down their piece with their hand or with their glove,
Oh, yeah, I've seen that. Reach up and grab
like
it,
90% of the YouTubers.
Or reach back here. Look, I do this, but I'm not wearing gloves, right? But I've got this nice smooth handle on the backside of this Laguna that I'll grab and slow down my bowl, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing there to snag it. But if I'm wearing a glove, if I'm wearing, just my raw skin and I go grab that, right? I might get a burn.
Yeah.
Or if there's a burr or something on it, I'll get a little scratch. But if I'm wearing a glove and there's a burr and that glove hangs, all of a sudden I'm wrapping my wrist the wrong way and twisting, and all these bones are going to start crumbling. Go Google degloving accidents. Take a stiff drink and watch it. It's horrifying. It is horrifying, but it happens. Oh, that's all I got tonight.
Fantastic
That's
demo.
great.
Thank you very much.
Fantastic there, Joaquin. Thanks for working with me there on the Devil's Advocate, Joaquin. You did great. All right,
congratulations to our newest newsletter editor.
Absolutely, right?
Navy stands for never again volunteer yourself, but us sailors are thick.
That's a fact.
Right. All right. Well, hey, we got a couple folks here from the UK that have a tip for us. So let's go over to Paul and see what he's got. Hey, Paul. No, Paul's not there. Paul, come back to us. In the meantime, let's go to Ireland.
Ireland?
And let's see. Don't say anything yet. That way I can grab you. And now I got you, Steve.
Hello.
We got you.
Gotcha.
Okay, cool. Some good tips and stuff this evening. It's very good, very informative. So I got a couple of bits and pieces. I'm going to start off with a shop hack. This gadget here. I don't know whether you can get those in the States, if you've seen these.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Of course, I lived overseas.
Yeah, so these are really, really handy for things like your shop vac, your glue gun, anything that's kind of low power, not high voltage. You get a remote control. Ooh, let me put it here. You get a remote control and you can put up to 4 devices and 4 of these plugs. They're quite cheap. I think they're like €15. What's that about? $20 for 2 and a controller. And you program one controller to all your switches. And I have my glue gun, my shock vac, and I have like a little small compressor as well that I can just, while I'm at my lathe, I can just go click, 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 and use just a little remote control. And I can turn everything off, on and off from my lathe. So there's no leads hanging over. You're not leaning over and switching switches and stuff like that. So just, if you can get those, get a few of those for your shop. They're very handy. And now I've got a couple of other hacks. I don't know how many of you have got spiraling tools. Do you use the spiraling tools?
Nobody's got
Yeah.
one.
Okay, you know how much they cost to buy?
Oh
They're
yeah,
expensive.
Yes.
Yeah,
yeah.
they're very
I bought
expensive.
my set.
Okay, so when you're doing mini boxes and little lids and you're trying to do some fancy swirls and things, how many of you have a rotary tool?
Can they see you? Well, they want to.
So everybody has a rotary tool, right? Like a Dremel or
Yep.
something like that. I have cheap ones like this, but I also have these flexi drives that you can add on to the top of them. Now, what happens with the flexi drive, sometimes the little cable in the center snaps off and you can't use the flexi drive anymore. Well, I cut the tops off and then you've got a little rotary, a little spiraling jig tool, right? So I'll just show you how it works very quickly. Here's one I prepared earlier. So I'll show you the bits that I use when I'm using this little gadget. So you can just use any of your burrs that you use when you're doing when you're carving and stuff like that. You know, all these bits. Everybody's got hundreds of these lying around their workshop. This and this one. And then in the actual tool, I've got, it's like a little cog. It's not really focusing, but it's like, it literally just looks like a cog wheel. I like using that one. So if you've got a box lid and you can't afford to go out and get all the fancy spiral and things, you can literally use your rotary tool without one of these flexi drives. Just hold, but don't turn it on. You just let the lathe drive it. I've got that going in reverse at the moment. And all you do is you just use it like a spiraling tool. So that gives like a scratch effect.
Yeah.
Is that showing up
Yeah.
there?
Yeah.
You can get different effects. So if you hold it down, it gives like a mottled pattern in the center. And then you can turn it the other way. Can be a bit more aggressive, but it gives you a different pattern, gives you a real spirally look. So, and then if you turn it this way, you can actually, like you'd finish off, if you put your pattern in, and usually you take your skew and you'd put a line either side to kind of highlight it. You can use this straight in. And it'll put a nice mottled line all the way around and detail as well. So that's kind of a handy way. And all those bits do a different design.
Mm-hmm.
So you have
cool.
You have hundreds of different designs that you can do with different bits, and it's just a rotary tool that most of us probably only take out off the shelf once every 3 months to do a small job and put away. Well, now you can do some texturing. Another handy tip, another handy jig I have then is take this piece of oak. Now, obviously, different woods work better with different texturing.
I got to
Is
tell you,
this
Steve, I use my rotary tools nearly every time I'm in the shop.
okay? Yeah, well, I do as well, but some people don't use them. You know, it
Yep,
depends on
fair enough.
if you're into texturing and stuff like that. I do a lot of power carving as well, so I'd use my rotary tools for doing power carving and stuff like that. I don't have the Fordham or anything, you know, the expensive stuff. So this is just a handy jig. I was on TikTok, and Tim McCoy, I think is his name on TikTok. No, it wasn't. It was a guy called Gil. Um, he was doing scoop handles. He was turning some scoop handles, and he was finding it difficult to put. I've just got this spindle just that I've turned. Let me just zoom out a little bit. I've just got this rough spindle that I've just turned for demonstration purposes. But if you've got a scoop handle and you've got it in the chuck and you finish off the end of your scoop handle nicely, and then you want to finish the other end. Normally they're on a screw jig, jig and a mandrel, and you can't finish this end. He was finding it hard to hold it in his chuck without murring the outside of the of his handles and his spindles. Well, I've got this jig. It's literally just a hole I've drilled into a long piece of wood, and then I've tapered it. It's about 1.25 inches this size, this end, and it goes down to about a 1/2 inch inside. And all I do is I push my spindle in and push it in until it's tight. Now it'll be a little bit wobbly. You can bring your tailstock up and you can center it, but we all know that you can kind of turn your lathe down really slow, and you can set it until it's spinning pretty good. And then you can pretty much work on that. I'm not going to do any major turning on this. I haven't got my shield on, but that will be in that strong enough for you to I mean, it's best if you do push it in with your tailstock, because it jams it in there harder. But it's in there strong enough for you to do any detail work on the side, on the end. I'm not going to do too much turning because I haven't got my shield and stuff on. But you can turn the end off of that very easily, and then just to get it out again, just give it a wiggle, pull it out, and you'll see that the end of that isn't damaged at all, because this is kind of a soft. This is only poplar, so it grips it and holds it. It's kind of similar to this other jig that I have. You've probably all seen it. If you've seen it, then tell me, oh, we've seen that before. That's nothing new, and I just won't bother showing you. But is the sphere jig? That's just a. So I don't know if you've seen these
variations. Go ahead and show it.
Okay, so this one's turned to the size of sphere. This is just a demonstration sphere that I use with my students. So basically, you just take it's best with a wide-grained wood, like a building lumber or something like that, a pine, because that tends to kind of have a bit more expansion in the grain. So if you've got your sphere that you've turned, this has got a dirty old crack in it that when it dried out. But this is the one I made for this sphere and for this size sphere. I think this is an 80 mil, something like that. You cup out your jig, but you leave the top ring quite tight so that when you get I've got a mark on this so I know which way I can put it in. You can literally knock your sphere into there, and that's not going to go anywhere. It's just a friction hold, so you can come in like before. And if you're doing we'll say the likes of one of these puzzle balls, I copied this from Ruby's. This is a puzzle ball. It's actually got to be repaired. It got damaged. My son dropped it, but I've got to replace the ring on it. But if you're making puzzle balls like this, you can use that jig for doing all your detail work.
Did a nice job on that, Steve.
Thank you. But when that's just held in there, friction, you can drill it. You can drill right through. You can use your gouges on it.
Steve, does that go past halfway or just up to halfway?
I'll show you now. I'll show you now. It does round about halfway.
That's a better perspective. Thank you.
Okay. And also a handy tip is drill a hole at an angle from the back to the back of where your sphere will be. Now, normally what I would use is just a wooden dowel, because a wooden dowel won't, and it's got a little bit of rubber on the end. I couldn't find it. I don't know where I've put it. It's somewhere on my shelf. But just for today, I'm going to use my knockout stick. And literally all you do is you can just give it a knock and it just pops out.
You can also drill a hole straight through the bottom.
Through the back, yeah, that for your knockout
button.
stick, yeah. But I found it depends on what I've got. When I this is quite a new chuck that I recently got. I was using this before with the extension on it, so my knockout bar wasn't long enough to go through. So when I originally made that, that's the reason for that. But yes, I have got others that I've got there that I've got the hole through the back. Exactly right. That's that jig. And then another handy tip for those of you that do any multi-axis spindle work. When you're turning stuff like this, and it's actually funny because this happened to me this evening when I was doing a live demonstration. I was using spalted wood, so it was very, very weak. But if you're doing stuff like this and you've got it between centers and you're putting pressure either end, these areas are going to flex and bend. So what I do, and so does Barbara Dill, and probably a lot of people that do multi axis, is I'll get sticks. I'll work on this piece here, and then I'll super glue a stick there, a stick at the back, and depending on where the bridges are, I'd stick sticks, and they will take the flex out of the wood, and you can move along and do your next one. And then you can stick sticks on that one and move along. You can either use super glue or hot glue, anything that's going to hold that and stop that from flexing. So that's just a handy tip if ever you're doing multi-axis stuff like that. And then just the last thing I wanted to demonstrate is I get a lot of people asking me with the multi-axis stuff that I'm doing at the moment on how to now there's probably maths wizards out there that can work it out very easily, but I just wanted to quickly demonstrate how you can divide up a circle. Let me just lift this up a little bit and
there you go, right there.
Just to divide up a circle to equal axes. If you don't have an indexing system on your lathe, now you could do it the hard way and use a ruler to measure. But if you wanted to, we'll say, find 12 equal sections on this circle, I don't know if the pencil's going to show, is it?
No, it's not at the moment. It's starting to come through.
Okay.
Yeah, we can see it.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you wanted to split this bowl blank into 12 equal parts, it's very easy. You've got your center mark, you draw a circle, take your compass and put it anywhere on that circle that you've just drawn. Okay. and make an arc through the center, a background onto your circle. Where your points match, where your arc matches onto the circle, crosses onto your circle, move on to that next point and do the same again. Keep doing that until you go all the way around. And that's going to give you a flower. Now this works on sphere. This works on spheres as well. If you want to work out the measurements equal sections on a sphere, this system works as well. Ruby will probably agree that way.
Yes, I do agree.
Yeah. So this is how you find. This will find 6 equal parts.
Yeah, but it's important that you don't change the radius of the compass while you're doing it.
Exactly. Do not change the radius of your compass. Okay. So now I have 6 equal parts. Now, if I wanted 12, there's 2 ways I can do it. Is I could measure the distance between that point and that point, find halfway, mark it onto this circle, do the same this end, and then draw a sectional line through it on all the parts in between these 6 points I've just made. Or I can find the center of this by, this is where I do adjust my radius. As long as it's just slightly bigger than the guess of halfway, I can do another arc here on this point, come over to this point and do another arc here. And where these 2 arcs meet, that's center of these 2. So you go along and you do that again. Oh, sorry. Now you can use this for doing, for working out patterned work. So you do that, and then what you do is you take your ruler and you draw a line through all your centers, and you'd get your 12 points. So you've divided that into 12. If you wanted to go to 24, you do it again. You'd split all your halves again. And that's how you section out a circle in equal parts. So some of the stuff that I'm doing at the moment, I have to do this a lot to get my measurements exactly right. So that's another handy tip. And then just my last, the last thing I wanted to show was what I made on a demonstration the other day. Let me change to this camera, be better. So this is a toy that I make every year. They're just your normal snowman that everyone makes, but I make these as a box. So they split at just underneath where I have the scarf, and then I put a spinning top inside. The kids can put the lids back on, and then you can spin your spinning top on the head of the snowman, and it's just like a little Christmas toy. And what I do is I make these, I give each one its individual name, and I print off a birth certificate. And they're a nice little toy for kids each year. And if you get
so
the
cool, Steve.
and if you get the dip in the hat just right, the trick is that when the spinning top stops, it should stay on the hat. And it's probably going to prove me wrong now and go flying off, but we'll see.
It's a great idea, Steve.
That is really cool. I like that.
So that will stop right there on top of the hat. So they're a cool little toy, and I've just bought a new. I was at a show.
That sounds like a demo.
Yeah, well, yeah. If you want me to demo that, I will certainly do a demo for you guys.
I will be in touch with you, Steve.
And this is a new expensive piece of kit that I just recently bought at a show. It's a British-made threading jig, and I'll demonstrate that at some point as well. You can get these in the UK. I'm not sure if you can get Simon Hope tools in the States, but this is amazing. once you have this set up on your lathe, it literally takes about no more than a minute each thread, male, female.
Nice.
Internal, external threads. No more than a minute to do it.
Simon Hope doesn't export to the States, but I think there are similar types of things over in the States.
Yeah,
there is
JJ.
one I'll be demonstrating soon.
Yeah,
If
exactly.
you want a Simon Hope one, you can get Oliver's wood turning to send it to you.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, put it in the chat, please.
And just the last thing, I've been playing a lot with multi-axis, you know me. So I've been kind of trying to work out how I can bend wood with things like this, and then with my elbow knuckle type thing here that I've been
takes a good chunk of wood.
Yeah, just been playing, just experimenting and playing and trying to get to where I want, because I've got to make, for my next club meeting, I've got to make two matching candlesticks. So I want to do multi-axis in some way. And that's me.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, Steve. And like I said, I'll be in touch with you. We'll get you and me. We'll get something hammered out. I'm scheduling out in January, end of January now in February. So
absolutely
work.
You just gave a bunch of ideas, Steve. I'll tell you. Oh my God!
Yeah,
oh,
that was great.
That was just great.
Good.
Just
Glad I
great.
could help. You're welcome.
Oh no, she 86. 86.
Shall I do a dance?
No, I'm just going through my names here. A couple people boogered out, so.
Whatever you do, Steve, please don't sing.
Steve, you just undid everything you just gave us. It just all, we lost it all.
Oh well.
Hey,
what are you
Dane,
gonna do?
You know I'm ready.
Yes, sir. I know you are.
I've got a short tip.
Don't let him sing. Do not let him sing.
Folks, I've got a list.
And now
I've got a list of
No,
artists that have asked to show. So I'm going through the list first, and then the ones that are coming in, during the meeting here, I am trying my darndest to get to you. All right, let's see. Daniel, you still there? Dan, need you to turn your video on.
Dan the man.
Must have stepped away. All right. Well, let's see. Staying in the UK. Wayne, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
All right. Let's go to you.
That's Wayne.
Wayne.
Yeah.
You're up. You said you had a tip.
Yeah, got a quick tip. I'm just going to try and share screen here. Now, this is a tip for, here we go. There we are. Right. I see a lot of things on Facebook about bandsaws and what size of blades you need for doing different sizes of cuts and radii and things like this. So this is just a very quick one with the sizes of blades for doing the different radiuses. And I keep on putting this out on Facebook in various groups. So I will share this in the group. I'll try and send it to Dave and everything, but just a quick one. That's the different radii for the different sizes of bandsaw blades for doing the different sizes of cuts.
Very good. I've got one as well, Wayne. I'll send to Dave to upload to the website. Very good point on that. A lot of people get sideways on their bandsaw blades and the size of them and trying to cut radiuses on them.
So that was just a quick one from me.
Okay, right on. Thank you. All right, let's see. Let's go to this guy. Hey, Matt. Well, Matt's doing his. I will be right back. So everybody, best behavior, insulin shot time. So I will be right back.
No. All right. So let me start with this first trick. This is something that I actually saw in Jay's shop first time I was in there. And what it is a little, it looks like this. And it's a little spring-loaded thing with a magnet on the back. Okay.
Pencil holder.
Pencil holder. This works wonderfully. I've got pencils in one. Okay. I've got chuck keys in them. Okay. It's great. I love this thing. So
Where
much
do
so
we
that I
get
gave
it?
Jay. What's that?
Shut up and take my money. Where can I get it?
Amazon.
or you can get them from Lee Valley.
What's it called?
Pencil
That's
holder.
a
Pen holder.
magnetic pencil holder.
Yep. Or
Oh, it
pen
is called a
holder.
pen holder.
And it might have like the word spring in there somehow too. So, okay. Second thing, this is an index wheel that I purchased. It's the Fire wheel, Iron Fire. I don't even know if they make them anymore. They're available. I love this. It works really well, but I wanted something I could have a little more control over. So I made one myself off of one of those printed templates. So in order to do like 16 holes, I've got to hit this every third hole on this ring. Well, this one here that I made myself, and I do 8 and 16 a lot. This is a lot easier to use, and it just has to clear the chuck. So, you know, and they're very easy to make and to use. So it's just a little bit bigger than my chuck. It works on my existing pin holder system. This works great. And I've got 2 more I'm making, and they're very easy to do. And this is just like, 1/8" Lexan that I had sitting around the shop, and you could make them out of ply. It doesn't matter. Okay. The next tip was I've remade my vacuum chucks. So the original one I had, it was just PVC pipe, and then I put the Walmart foam around it. Now, I don't know if y'all can see this, but over time, it's just being held on the ring here. And what that was doing is it wasn't giving me a really good hold. And it was sometimes in softer woods like cedar, it was leaving a mark on the wood that I had to go and clean up and sand out and so on. So I've remade the tops of my vacuum chucks. They're now a kind of a torus. So they circle around like this, and they work. They hold a lot better. There's much more surface area of the foam on the wood, and so the seal's better. And all around, it's a much better vacuum chuck. And it's the same general construction. You just make this piece of wood out of whatever you've got laying around the shop, and then epoxy it or whatever onto the top of your PVC pipe, and it works great. Okay, so in keeping with what Gary was showing at the beginning, this is my vacuum chuck attachment here. Let me see if I've got this right here. I messed it up. There we go. Okay, so what it is there's a single bearing in here, okay, and a male nipple on the end here that the hose goes onto, and the vacuum goes through here, and this is ever so slightly smaller than my spindle, and there's a little groove in here for these O-rings to fit on, and it just pops in, and a little machine oil, and it seals great, and I get 30 psi or whatever, and it's very quick to go in and out, and this works fantastic. I haven't had to do any machining. It's just a seal bearing in here that's that helps make it spin. Any questions on that?
No.
All right, that's a no. All right, what else? Dane wanted me to show the articulated arms. Is that still true?
Yes.
Okay.
We have a lot of new people on here.
All right, so I've taken my camera off the hook here, and we're going to go back to it and start showing articulated arms. Okay, so I've got one here that's got a light on it. Now, what this does is this lets me move this light back and forth along the length of the lathe bed, and I can extend it out, and it's on the wall. Okay, and there's a whole we've done a whole thing on the I can put this light anywhere I want, but I primarily built this to get the light away from my hollowing rig so that I could run the hollowing rig down my lathe bed and have the light above it, and nothing was in the way of my hollowing. Now, when I originally did this, I mounted it on my structure above the lathe, and that did not work as well as having it on the wall, because the wall gives me much bigger range of motion and so on. So, and what you're looking at here, this is my camera for the tailstock, and it's on a 19-inch gooseneck, and it's just on a tripod on the floor in the shavings. So this works really well for that. But one of my other ones here is this one here. This arm here is connected to my light fixture above my lathe, and this is what had the camera that was looking over my tailstock. And I make and we did a whole segment on the website, and I made these knobs, and this tightens it, and then this lets this go up and down, and then the whole thing is controlled by this knob here. And I can raise and lower the arm and extend it out and so on and put it back up. Sorry, there's a lot of crap in the way.
All good.
So, and I've made a bunch of things to, like, that's sanding sealer right where I can reach it. But that's all. I made that in my shop, and I made it from YouTube videos, and we did there's a video we did. I did a demonstration on how I made these arms, and that's on our website and on the YouTube channel also. Any questions on that?
Nothing yet.
I think we have some drawings, maybe some rough drawings on the website, or did.
I know that in my presentation, I think I included the templates for making this arm.
Yeah.
Yes, they're on the website.
I thought it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Matt.
Yes.
What do you do how is your computer set up to run those multiple cameras, and how do you keep the dust out of it?
I use vMix. Let me switch to the camera again here. I use vMix. Okay. And you can buy these little plastic templates from Amazon for whatever computer. And it's a little kind of a thing, and tape it down so that when you run your air compressor over it, it doesn't fly away. So, and then I built a little shelf deal here, and it's got vMix controls which camera is which. And I also use this little mini keyboard here, which is what I'm doing here. This lets me very quickly change between cameras. That's how big it is. Okay. So, and they're all just webcams. I found that the Logitech webcams seem to handle the lighting differences the best. I've got some let me switch to this camera here. I've got, like, the lighting I have is high lumen LED lighting. Okay. And the original cameras I started off with were the cheapest ones I could find, and they did not handle the bright lights really well. I need the lights to see what I'm doing. So I did all kinds of things, like I put parchment paper underneath the lights and so on. And eventually I tried several different kinds of cameras, and eventually I settled on the Logitech cameras because they handle the light management the best from my experience.
Matt.
So, and then anyway, that's my
Logitech is about to release a smart autofocus webcam, which has articulated arms. It's a complete system for this type of streaming, already built on an articulating arm. They're about to come out with it, I think, in January or February. That's going to do everything that you've built. You're going to be able to buy it off the shelf from Logitech.
Very cool. Very cool. So that sounds great.
Thanks,
I'm very impressed with how well the Logitech cameras handle the dynamic lighting requirements of doing this in the shop. So like I said, I had problems with other stuff, and this is much better.
Thanks, Matt.
Yep. Any questions about anything? I won't sing or dance either.
Thank you.
Another tip, if you need a switcher, RGB Link makes a great switcher that's very inexpensive. I think it's $2.99, and it's a video switcher, push button with a little monitor so you can see what you're doing.
Would you
Well, that's very cool.
that-
I mean, this little mini keyboard thing is hugely versatile, and it's, you know, I mean, I can very comfortably switch between views, you know, very easily, and it's you know, you can do things like, let's see here, I can zoom in very easily, or zoom out very easily, you know, do picture in picture, so on. But yeah, I mean, you know, if they've got it all done in the hardware, I mean, hopefully there's no big learning curve there. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Stop
Yep,
buying
so
all
I
those cameras, Matt. Stop buying all the cameras, Matt, and just come hang out in my shop with me for a few days.
I'd love doing that. That's so much fun. You know, I learn so much every time I go to somebody else's shop and make shavings. It's just it's
Right.
hugely beneficial. It
Yeah,
doesn't matter what the
amen.
skill levels are, you know.
Right.
Or any demo that you go to. I mean,
Right.
any
Yep.
demo that
Yeah.
you go to.
Yes, any demo.
Any demo. It's good to support people too by sitting in on them.
Well, and even just talking with folks. I mean, Scott Tiggs talked about how he and I had some conversations this week. I've been like stoked. I mean, it was they were great. It was a great conversation, and I can't wait for the next one. So it's like,
Right.
plus I want to get his wife involved because she's got all kinds of cool decoration ideas. So.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, she does some awesome stuff as well. Hey, Matt, I just
Yeah.
got to say, you know, hats off to you, man. I know it's cold there.
Yeah. Well,
I
I've had
really
a heater.
appreciate
I've had a
that.
heater running since 4 p.m. So it's above
Well-
40 now. So
And I'm sitting here with my heater on, and it's 60 degrees, and I've got the heater on. So, you know, but thank you very much. I appreciate it.
60
you're-
degrees heater. I don't even put
Yeah.
pants on at 60 here.
yeah, that's
Well,
right.
you know, that's
TMI. TMI.
Then
All I
leave
can say
your
is,
camera turned off because we don't want to see you without pants.
yeah. Thank you, Ruby.
Yeah, the only other tip I'd say is this is a Duluth Trading shirt jack. They're great.
Right on. All right, let's go to let's go over to the East Coast, about halfway down, and see what's shaking in North Carolina with Mr. Duxbury. Hey, Jim.
Gotcha. Oh, let me do a screen share. I had to throw this in. Everybody has shops and studios. This is my boardroom. Okay.
There you go. Nothing eccentric about that.
Yeah. One of the big problems I always had in wood turning is somebody says, "Boy, that's really nice. Send me a picture." And I'll tell you, that's a half a day to get a picture. I don't care how many light tints you got or what you do. I bought this LED ring, and it's got 4 different colors, I think. And I mounted it on my camera, or around my camera, so you don't get shadows anywhere. This thing is really neat. You can take pictures on your lathe or on the wall or anywhere else. You got the lighting's built right in. That's what it looks like. That shelf goes underneath it. That's a piece of, oh God, it's a piece of aluminum trim you put on a house trim or something. I don't know. I cut it out and bent it up, and it's pop rated bent on the back. But that has really worked neat. And this is the controller. It's got an on-off switch, high and low. You can dim it, and it also has, I think this is a mode switch for 4 different colors. It was only $10 or something, but it's just nice. You can point your camera anywhere you want and try a couple of different lights. Sometimes the light with a little different tint makes the things work much better. Anyway, I draw my work, almost everything I draw. A lot of times when they dimension things, you dimension a 1/2 inch, and then you dimension 3/8, and then you dimension a 1/4 or whatever. I put all the dimensions from one end. So you can lay a ruler on your piece and mark out every high and low spot on the whole piece. There's no compounding of errors. And at each one on the other side, they put the dimension, the diameter. A lot of times when you make a cut that's, you want a real fine cut in here, real narrow cut, your calipers won't fit it. You can't use an 1/8 inch parting tool or you'd have a big flat in here. So you use a 1/16 inch parting tool, and instead of calipers, I use a piece of cardboard with a slot cut in it like that. So this is the piece that I just showed you on the drawing. But this way you can use a 1/16 inch parting tool or even a 32nd inch parting tool and go right down the middle here, and this will follow it just like a calipers. Okay? And it's cheap.
Good.
And it's cheap. Anytime you make something, this is a bread knife, and it's like a harp with a handle on it. Actually, the end's been cut off. This was square on the end, and there was a center point out here and a center point on the handle, and I turned the handle. When you go to cut the harp out, you can't lay this on the bandsaw. So this is a spacer that fits on my bandsaw. There's dozens of different kinds of these things, but I love this thing, and I use it for all kinds of things. It looks like, it doesn't have to look like this dog bone. It could be anything. It's got 3 magnets in the bottom. And I do drill holes in my table, in my saw tops once in a while. But these are reference holes, but a lot of things fit in these. That bolt fits in that hole, and this slot goes in the back of that blade. So when you turn it over and slide it in from the back of the blade, it fits on here and drops into that hole. And that gives you a spacer so you can cut something off that has a handle on the end or has whatever else. Okay?
Is that hole tapped, Jim?
What?
Is that hole tapped? Is it threaded?
No, no, it just drops in there. No, it's just a hole.
Thanks.
With the magnets on the bottom, here, it sucks onto the table, and it just holds it in place.
Thank you.
Great
Yeah.
idea, Jim.
Thank you. We were talking about tapping and things tonight. I make my own taps. This is a 3/4 10 piece of all thread. I use a 4-inch grinder. You cut 3 slots in here. I marked this with chalk to cut it. And the only side that you have to pay attention to is this cutting side. That has to be square. Put a regular steel bolt, and then I put it in a lathe, and I taper the end off, just grind the end off, or use a file on it. But and then cut this 3 slots in here. But that makes a really neat tap, and you can make them in all different sizes. On the end here, this handle is tapped, and that's a 3/4 10 nut. So it jams it on there to make a tapping tool. This is the 3 taps, the 3 holes that I use mostly are 3/4 10 for the tailstock, a 1-inch 8 or a 1-inch 8 on the bottom here, and 1 1/4 inch 8. On each one of these things, there's a machined surface. So each one of these has a counter bore. And then on this, I use this thing, I'll show later, but on each one of these, you drill this for this 3/4 10 tapped hole. I drill a 5/8 hole, and I counter bore it with, oh, I can't even read that. I don't remember what it says there, but anyway. It's a 1-inch counter bore, 3/16 deep. This would be drilled at 1 1/8 with 1 1/4 inch counter bore, 3/16 deep. Anyway, I use this thing, and to make tailstock centers and things, tailstock ends, I take a piece of wood and draw 2-inch circles on it, just like this. This is the different stages of it. I draw a 2-inch circle, Then I counterbore it. This is going to be a 1-inch counterbore, 3/16 deep. Then I drilled it 5/8, and then I tap it. This is for display, but normally this is about 1 inch thick ash. And I would do all of these. I would drill and tap all of these. Then I would cut them out. This is how I tap it. That tapping block you saw before, this is the 3/4 10 hole. The hard part of tapping something is getting the tap straight and getting the feed right, especially to start. When you use this, you run the tap all the way through here till it's just sticking out the other end. And then you clamp it to that piece of wood. And when you screw this in, you're dead straight, and you've got the pressure, and it does a gorgeous hole. I would tap all of these, and then I would get this ring here, and I'd glue that to a block of wood, just a blank block of wood. But you can see that's counterboard. That's going to fit on the tailstock. And then from that, I make my different ends. These are the different ends. There's points, there's cups, there's things with tenons on them to fit in different things. If you have real small holes, you put in steel pins that'll fit in a drilled hole. And when you do it, mark on there what it's for. This is for, it says BIC, that's for a big pen, you know, the big panel, the long big pens you can make. Anyway, I make these in all different sizes. This is for the headstock. You can make, this is a 1-inch 8, this is 1 1/4 8. I don't know what that's for, but anyway, you can drive with these. If you have something special, you can take one of these and put it on the drive and turn it to fit whatever you want, reshape it later. I often reshape these to something else. I had to throw this in. These are 2 gorgeous pieces, and they're tapped 3/4 10, and they got a finish on them. And for the life of me, I have no idea what they're supposed to do. They've got to be for something. I made them for something, but mark on when you make them, mark on what you're doing.
That looks like clock parts or something.
Clock points.
Or a cam lock.
Oh, I don't make cam lock. I have no idea what I mean. It's really nice. They're all sanded and everything, but I should have marked on their way. Anyway, someday I'll think it up. I get tired of using my chuck key, that wire handle. That wire handle's on there for a reason, because if you put something big like this on there, you could bend the jaws on your chuck. Anyway, you take a block of wood and turn it around. No, first you drill a square block. You drill a hole this size in the side of it, and you drill a hole right down the middle this size. And then with one of those ends you just saw, you stick it in here, you turn this thing around, and then you put the handle up here, and you put a little glue on this pin, and you stick it down in there, and you got a wooden handle for your chuck. We've got a bunch of these. You've got to watch, though. You can't lay into this because that's a much bigger handle, and you can bend the jaws on a chuck. This is how you make a Morse taper. I use Morse tapers for all kinds of things. You take a piece of wood 2.5 inches wide and I don't know, 4 inches long. You glue a block of wood to it, and you put a Morse taper against there. You put another block of wood against that, and you glue that on. And then I put the dimensions here to cut the taper. But anyway, anytime you cut it, make a Morse taper, if it'll fit into there, it'll fit in your lathe. And I use these for all kinds of things. I've got dozens of these. These are round bull noses, cups, cup ends, pins, all different size. Oh, and I mark on it. See, I'm getting smarter. These are 1/2 inch. That's a 5/8, 3/4. This is a cup center. This one here is a piece. It's got a Morse taper on the end with about a 2.5 inch disc on it with a piece of inner tube. And that doesn't turn. You can stick that in the headstock and drive with it. Or you can put that in the tailstock, and that makes a brake for a piece that you want to carve on. You can just bring it up and clamp it against there, and it's a brake for something you want to carve on. Okay.
Very good.
Hey, Jim.
Yeah.
On these, do you use a particular wood, maple, oak, or whatever for threads and these Morse tapers? Anything better than the other?
I use a lot of ash, but maple. Yeah, I don't use soft wood, but
Yeah.
on soft wood I don't use a tap. I ram the thing right in there. I put a wrench on it and taper the end of a piece of rod, and I run it in there. I don't use a tap. I just swedge it in and then retap it. But these are all different kinds of wood. You can see this is poplar, that's oak. This is probably maple. These are maple, that's oak.
Well, one thing I've learned is if you're tapping, you don't want to do end grain. Make sure it's side grain, because end grain tapping, the threads won't hold.
Yeah, yeah.
Very true.
And when I tap end grain, I don't use a tap. Like I say, I taper a piece of rod and run it right in there, and it swedges it in first. And then sometimes I put CA glue in and then tap it with a tap. But the threads are already swedged in there.
Jim, can you back that camera up or picture up just again?
This one?
No, one more.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Thank you.
You got it.
I'm going to have to look up swedge.
What? Maybe I used that wrong.
No, you used it right.
That means
All
a
right,
lot of muscle. That means a lot of muscle in the.
All right. Yeah, I was going to say, somebody tell me, because I've never heard that before.
Oh, okay. A lot of muscle and
Smash
push
it
hard.
All right.
Used
Good.
in the hose. It's a term used in the hose industry.
Does Rita have any tips and tricks?
No, yeah, she does. She's not here. She can't show her. Yeah, it's the next thing to put in a square peg in a round hole. You make it fit. These things are Morse tapers. This is a 1/2 inch with a 1/2 inch. This means a 1/2 inch tenon. This is a 1/2 inch cap on here. You put this in the drive, and this is sticking out. And then you can put any kind of 1/2 inch wheel on here, and put this cap against it, and your tailstock against that. And you can put a wire brush on, or this is a 1 inch. I think I got a picture of a 1 inch. This is a 1 inch, so I put a 1 inch Harbor Freight buffing pad on here and put this cap against it and bring the tailstock up, and you've got a buffing wheel.
Wow, is that a great idea?
You can put anything you want on there, saw blades, or I mean, not saw blade, grinding blades, and all kinds of things. But you make these things, and once you've made one, keep it in a drawer, but mark it whatever it is. But I'll tell you, I've got them down to about, I think I have 1/8 inch or 3/16 or something. But I've got them for all kinds of things. But you put that cap on there, it self centers, and it just works. And it's variable speed, so that's kind of what it looks like. I couldn't get a good picture of this, but that's what it looks like. You put a buffing wheel on there. So for $3.50, you got a buffing wheel from Harbor Freight. And it takes you 2 minutes. It doesn't take you half a minute to change it. You know, if you had 4 of them, you can take them on and off instantly almost.
Wow.
These are male and female 3/8. I also have sockets that I put in. You can either drive with these or use them in the tailstock. This goes in the headstock, and you put a rubber pad around for driving on the inside of a bowl or something, a small bowl that you want to turn. I was asked, after I talked about this a couple of people have asked me to show this again. This is a Duxbury, okay? On this side of the wheel, is the side you grind on. I cut the back out of the wheel, out of the guard, and on this side is the side you hone on. I put a switch on both sides of this grinder. So I grind my tool to a shape. After I've got the tool shaped, I never turn this grinder around again. I hone it. It uses way less tool. It's much user-friendly, more user-friendly. This is the honing side now. This is the way the grinding wheel's turning. It's going up. You've got to use field or you've got to use that glass. But on a CBN wheel, you don't need this guard anyway. But what it does is, if you want a flatter angle on your tool, you almost can't do this. In fact, I saw a guy in El Paso, Texas, lay his scraper out like this, and it caught in the wheel, and it bent this arm. And I don't know what would have happened, but that was in a regular wheel. Anyway, this wheel is going upward, and it hones that tool. It raises a burr better, and it puts a much sharper edge. Carvers grind their tools to a shape, then they hone their tools. They never go back to grinding unless they drop the thing on the floor. Anyway, this is how I sharpen the tool with the heel in it in here. These things here are little blocks of wood with magnets in them. And to put a secondary bevel, you drop that piece in there with a magnet on it, and you grind a secondary bevel.
That is amazing, Jim.
Okay. Oh, we do get smart after a while.
I could
what I can even sharpen, I don't do this, but I could even sharpen something at low angle as like if that was a straight scraper. I could put I think I have a 13 degrees on my scrapers, but I would never do this anyway. This red marks means that's a carbon steel tool. All my final tools that I use are carbon steel. They're much sharper than any of the other stuff. And there's a secondary bevel if I was going to do a straight skew. In teaching blind and handicapped, I found out that one of the problems they had with a scraper and that sort of thing is they get down inside a vessel and the tool will be upside down. So I put the tool on the belt sander and sanded a flat on the on the bottom of it. So you can pick this tool up behind your head and it registers in your hand. This is a tool you won't see anywhere else. I didn't like my jointer. They're nice tools. And if I had to do 200 board feet, I'd put the blades back in this thing. This has a head on it here. And that belt, that's a belt sander. That's a 6x48 belt, goes all the way down here and around the pulley down here and back up. I had to replace the motor. I put a 2 horsepower motor on here and speeded it up a little bit. But I can do knotty pine on this. You could do your fingernails on this. It's gorgeous. Also, if you tear up a set of blades on your jointer, you're looking at $50 to sharpen the blades and half a day to get the damn things out and get them back in. If I tear this belt up, it costs me $9 and it takes me 15 minutes. Okay. You've got to have a dust collector. This cabinet's got a hole in the side with a dust collector. You've got to have a dust collector because in 2 minutes you can't see your hand in front of your face. I threw this in. This is the. I don't have a lot of room in my shop for a lot of tools. So for my press, I got 2 holes drilled in the table. Underneath here is the top of the bar clamp is screwed on to underneath of the table. So I can drop my bar clamps in here and put a beam across there, and I've got a press. This is my grandson. I've taught my son and both grandsons to turn. They're both great turn. This is my little grandson. He's 6'6", I think. I have to tell you, the piece we're making, he's last year of college, and he's got this girlfriend, the love of his life. And he called me up and said, "Grandpa, could we make a jewelry box for my girlfriend?" And I said, "Well, I guess so." So then he sent me the drawing of this jewelry box. He came down for 2 days from Ohio and brought a bunch of scrap walnut. But anyway, this is another shot of that, how we use this press. And this is a jewelry box he wanted made in 2 days with all this. It had 4 drawers and inlaid top. We inlaid a bloodwood heart in the top, but it's got wings out the side and mirrors in the top. And anyway, we got it done, but I slept good those nights, I'll tell you.
How hard did you smack him upside the head?
You got it. One of the things that really made it work is I had reservations, but the son of a gun, he drew this and he made a material list. He had it all specced out. So I thought, well, if he could do that, I'll work on it. So, and the last tip, this is the best one of the day. This T9 stuff really works. I take a roll of tissue or a regular paper and paper towel, and I cut it in 3 on the bandsaw. It's not toilet paper. I don't like those big sheets of paper, so I cut it in 3. I took about an hour and a half, and I went around and I oiled every damn door, hinge, lock, cylinders, lock cylinders. It is so nice. There's a door in this house that squeaks. Every doorknob turns like it's a dream. When you put a key in a lock, it just glides in there. It just absolutely works. Fabulous stuff. Anyway, that's my tips for the night.
Outstanding, Mr. Duxbury.
Thank you.
Thanks.
There are so many people waiting for years. They're saying, is Mr. Duxbury going to be showing his stuff tonight? I'm like, he's coming. He's coming.
Good idea on the handle. Thanks, Jim.
You're very welcome. If I could ever help, I'd be glad to. So I learned so much. I absolutely learned so much. Anytime I pick up a block of wood, instead of looking at it, next time feel it, because you can feel way more than you can see. Way more than you can see. It changes your whole life. Anyway.
Thanks,
Thank you, Jim.
All the best.
Well, it's the top of the hour. Let's swing back to Captain Eddie here, and then before we end the festivities, I also got to say something about tonight's festivities. So, but I'm gonna let Captain Eddie talk about what he saw tonight.
Boy, did I see some stuff?
Wow, I'm telling you.
You went down into the reaches and you came up with stuff. What I like is what I like best about this is you guys reached down and found the stuff that I've been looking for. I'm trying to find those little doohickeys and ideas and things and tips and shortcuts and all, and you come up with them. And just like Duxbury said a minute ago, sometimes I drill a hole in the table to do such and such. Same thing. Nothing is sacred to a wood turner. I mean, and reading the instructions, I love it. Charlie said, read the instructions. Yeah. Well, I'm Italian. The very last thing we ever did was read those.
Help me out here.
Very loud. That's
Yeah.
too loud.
All right. We got an audio problem. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
But we learned a lot tonight, and we shared a lot, and that's why we get together to share these ideas. And I tell you what, it was kind of overcoming to me. I'm glad you stayed away from me for a while tonight, because we talked about the newsletter. I can't do it because of my brain problem. I can't create that. But then Joaquin stepped right up and took the harness, ran right to it. But I have to mention this.
you're looking at the website from Dave Rhodes, who showed us the website. Do you realize, folks, that's the finest website in the entire world dealing with wood turning? And it's a total volunteer effort. And what you've seen tonight, all volunteer effort. We've seen professional turners come here this evening and sit with you and show you what came out of their shop. The ideas they've got when they teach and they show, and ideas and programs and all, it all comes right here. So when we say, will you share with us? Will you share with us? That's what we're looking for. You've got something we're looking for, folks. We don't give it up. We really don't give it up. So every Wednesday night, we'll gather here, and we're looking for you to come on in. Bring a friend. Show us everything you've got. And remember our no but guarantee. I don't care what you have. We got it. We like it. And we can never say but. No, that's not permitted. It's your work. It's from your heart. It's from your mind. It's from your hands. This world is lacking a lot of that, and we want to bring it back to us. On behalf of the entire crew, staff, co-host members, webmaster, and everybody else, we want to wish you all a very happy and very happy Thanksgiving. Hope you and your family have a good one and be a safe one. And remember, we have some friends that are in need and need your prayer. You heard about them tonight, and they can all use a good word. So keep them in your thoughts tomorrow when you sit down with your family. Remember the rest of your family. They're right here at worldwidewoodturners.org.
Yes.
On behalf of all of them, folks, thank you so much for making my week come true. I'll see you again next week. Until then, save the chat. Donald will save the chat. But until then, be safe. See y'all next week.
Thank you, Eddie. And then so with that, with Donald,
Happy Thanksgiving.
Donald will be back with us probably in about 4 to 6 weeks. He's changing households, but Donald is doing well, and he's watching our meetings on the repeat. In regards to tonight's tips and tricks, I got to say, I am overwhelmed with the amount of people that sent me messages and said they want to show their tips and tricks and bring us into their shop on how to do things. We did have 9 people that we were not able to get to tonight. Brenda, Doug Miller, Daniel Smith, Paul Hannaby, Randall Smith, Bob Grinstead, Ruby, Kelly, and Cade. We just didn't have
we
enough
know where you
detail.
live, and we'll come back and get you again.
But this is something that's in the back pocket. And so instead of doing this semi-annually, I think we need to I think I'm going to start doing this quarterly. And if I can get this type of a turnout, heck, I didn't even get a chance to go to people that, normally don't do anything because I wanted to rip that Band-Aid off to get some interaction, and I wasn't able to get that tonight. So I think quarterly would be great.
Quarterly, why not open for a tip or trick every meeting?
Well,
we could do that.
But anybody got a tip or trick?
We could, however, we're kind of filled up with gallery and the demo, and then we're kind of up against the 8 ball there. So, but that is, something that we can do.
Yeah. But I like the idea of quarterly, and it can all be in one program, or the bulk of it in one program. And when our master webmaster puts it out there on our website, you'll know where to go look for them. But remember, whatever you have, whenever you have it, we have a format that doesn't exist, which means you got something new, the wood turning, you want to talk about it, talk about it.
All you got to do is contact me. We can change the format, and we are very, very flexible. So
very flexible, because this is your wood turning club, folks.
We're here for you.
You made it. Y'all keep saying it's me. It ain't me. It's you. No. It has always been you. Always will be.